What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Xbox Ultimate Podcast, and we are live for episode number 214. Thank you all for joining us. We are going to have some fun today because I invited this guy on the other day, and little to my knowledge, the next day we're going to find out some horrible PlayStation news. So, for this guy is like kind of fit perfectly. You all know him as one of the GOATs and the OGs for the Xbox community, and it's the one and only Dirt Griggity is joining us tonight. I gotta say thanks, Dirt, for hopping in with us, man. I know you don't do a lot of guesting things anymore. You say how much you hate it all the time when you're doing your own podcast, but figured maybe I would eventually get you over here again. So appreciate you being here, man.
That's not true at all. But no, thank you, thank you for inviting me. Yeah, a lot of fun topics to discuss today. A lot of stuff to talk about, and I'm pretty anxious to talk about some of this stuff. I've been talking about this stuff for 2 days, and believe me, I have much more to say.
Yeah.
Part two.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, been crazy seeing the amount of conversation now, like, regarding PlayStation. It's like some things are coming into the light for some people, and I think some people light bulbs are going off, but other people are choosing to ignore it, right? Still. So it's interesting to put things into perspective. Part of my idea for this show was to kind of look at Xbox's roadmap of everything, and then what would have PlayStation's been like had they not canceled all these games? Like, we know what Xbox is cooking from almost all the developers, right? And PlayStation's been resetting games years into development, so it's going to be interesting going forward for them for sure. We also got returning from space, who now has some internet, thanks to, not thanks to the actual local internet provider, but thanks to his own doing. The one and only Jasper is joining us. What's up, Jasper?
It's going pretty good. I've been living life, and as I said before, when I had internet and I got it back, I've been doing a lot of growing and a lot of learning. So we're back at it. I got a car finally, so that's awesome. I could go places. Got internet. Just in a secret location in Colorado mountains, but other than that, doing pretty good.
A secret location that you can't disclose there, and you're doing a Xbox podcast.
Yeah.
Love it. It looks kind of like you're in like a cyberpunk area in Colorado, like with the neon lights and the city.
Well, like you thought, Dirt's. Well, it's like you thought Dirt's background was real. This is actually fake background, Mav.
Oh,
like
okay.
Oh,
I get it now. 3-Bit, how you doing, bro? What's up, man? Another XUP 2 weeks in a row. This is crazy.
I know, it's crazy. I'm pretty good. I've been mostly playing Ace Attorney. I've been jumping back into Starfield, like catching up on some of the side quests. Like I already beat the DLC, but there's a lot of awesome side quests in there. So catching up on that, a lot of life stuff as well. Been doing a lot of commercial work, and some animated shows and whatnot, but excited to be here two times in a row. I think I was here the last Friday, so yeah, it's gonna be a good show.
Yeah, it's felt like more like old school XUP the last couple of weeks. Now we even have Jasper back, so this is gonna be awesome. And how you doing, Fuzz? What's up, man?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you guys. Man, this is going to be a fun show because, I don't know, I'm surprised there aren't any PlayStation's dead articles. I mean, cancel games, that used to be like, mismanagement, the building's on fire, Microsoft bad, but no, PlayStation, everything's fine. Yeah.
Valid points. I still hear Scalebound brought up for some reason.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that too, because like something that Shuhei Yoshida said during that interview was like, he's like, thankfully because he was talking about all the games that he like greenlit and was kind of in charge of, all the classic franchises for PlayStation. And he was like, luckily for me that nobody remembers all the bad games, but like, I feel like on Xbox, it's like the opposite, like all the conversation is always about the things that they did wrong, but not all the great things that they did. So for somehow PlayStation always gets that positive light shown on the successes. The negatives are ignored. Shuhei even kind of acknowledged that, right? But Xbox, it's
yeah.
never the case.
They will bring up Redfall Metacritic score before they'll bring up Indiana Jones Metacritic
Yeah.
score. You know what I'm saying?
They don't bring up
Yeah.
Destruction
Concord.
All Stars or any
Right.
of
Oh,
those
they don't
things.
bring up those games. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. They'll never bring up Concord again.
Yeah.
Waste of
They're
time.
trying to act like it doesn't exist, man. If you,
Oh, yeah.
they acting like it
Oh,
doesn't
it was a
exist.
good thing that they canceled it. Ultimately, it probably. But Pong,
Yeah.
what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing fine. Cleaned up a little bit. Obviously, got a shave and haircut today, so I got that done. I've been such a busy ass week. If you guys listened last night, been sick and getting stuff done. Had to deal with the dryer. Still don't have a new dryer. They didn't have one in stock, so I got to wait until next week. So I still got to deal with that next week as well. So that's gonna be fun. Did fix my garage door for anybody listening to PM to PM last night. I did get that part done. Man, it's great to be here. It's great to have a full panel. It's awesome to see freaking Jasper here and obviously have him live. Great to have 3-bit for a second week in a row, but more spectacular than that, and couldn't have been more perfect timing. Obviously, to have one of the OGs, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Dirt Griggity, on the show. Who's always been a pleasure. And if you guys don't know, early podcasting days, both Mav and I have been on Weebly Green a bunch of times, and I have much respect for Dirt and the whole crew over there. Oh, brother, you already know, man. You guys were around to see the building of the PlayStation pyramids around this place, man. So you guys know what it's like. So, I always appreciate your perspective on things when you come in here, especially on the community stuff and just how the talk has, always been the same no matter what, even through all the changes and the evolutions and all the facts coming out. Those goalposts have moved so far, man. It's unbelievable. But yeah, thanks for being with us, Dirt. Always appreciate you giving us your time,
Thank
man.
you,
And
man.
of course,
I appreciate it.
Oh, of course, brother. And Mav and Fuzz, love you guys. So great to be here on a Friday night. Chat, great to see you all jumping in here with us again. And a show without you all. So thank you for joining us. We're gonna have a good time tonight. We got a lot to get into, so let's do it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a fun show last night, but there's more to get into tonight. Shout out to Stash Gordon, who joined the speculator train. Shout out to Stash Gordon. Welcome to the speculators. Choo choo. Let's see. We also got Razor Ultron with a $5 super chat. Appreciate you, Razor. Says Xbox is cooking and PlayStation is cleaning. Cleaning house. Ponies need to mind what Sony is doing and stop worrying about Xbox. Choo choo, motherfuckers. Look at
the console sales.
Go Birds.
God, look at the console sales. Look at the console sales.
Hey, we got these consoles that there's so many of them out there, but we don't have shit to look forward to play on them. But it doesn't matter. They're selling so great.
Look at the console sale. Look at the profit.
Selling like hotcakes.
You can always watch movies on them,
I win because PlayStation sold more consoles. Alvin with a 5. Appreciate you, Alvin. Says, considering the year Xbox and Nintendo about to have compared to the year PlayStation's about to have, a lot of pundits are about to make fools of themselves. There's a lot of pundits out there that have. Remember the one guy that used the word pundits that said that Xbox was gonna close shop if ABK fell through, and all that kind of stuff, and then he blocked. Oh, it was Andy Robinson. Then he blocked me because I made fun of him for saying that. But yeah, it's just interesting how these conversations always keep up. It happened again this week. There's another article that Satya Nadella, even himself, came crawling out of his money pit and it was like, "Hey guys, this is kind of bullshit. Just letting you all know." And that doesn't usually happen. I will say Satya's comments were probably more relegated. Were probably because it was a financial article directed towards like investments and shareholders and stuff like that. So that makes more sense for him to come out when it's targeting the people that are investing, right? As opposed to the gamers themselves. But it was interesting that he did come out and actually kind of try and debunk some of that stuff. But meanwhile, later in the week, we have PlayStation canceling more games. Now this makes 8 games of service games, if I'm correct, canceled in the last couple of years from their 12 games of service game initiative. And the latest 2 are from Sony, Bend Studios, who was the original developers of Days Gone. And supposedly the game that they were working on was going to be a God of War games as a service game.
What?
Yeah. And then the other studio was Blue Point, who was I remember when Blue Point was acquired, and there was like an interview or article, and it was like, hey, we're gonna get the opportunity to work on our own game, make something new. Well, it turns out they were also working on some kind of games as a service game for one of the major franchises as well. So neither of those panned
Actually,
out.
Blue Point, man, if I'm not mistaken, actually Blue Point was the ones that was making the God of War.
Was it Blue Point that was doing that
Yeah,
one? Okay, so what
yeah.
was Ben
Correct.
doing? I got them mixed
Just
up.
some multiplayer stuff, but they didn't
Ben
really
was
know
doing a new
exactly what
IP, some
Yeah.
kind
New
of
IP games of service game. Okay,
Yeah,
I got them
correct.
mixed up.
Yeah.
So Bend and a Blue Point now are going to be, I guess, meeting with the teams at PlayStation and the Hiroki Totokis and the Herman Holstas of the world, and figure out what's their next project going to be, and how can we salvage as many of these devs as we can. So I'll just set the table for you, Dirt. What the fuck's happening at PlayStation?
well, excuse me. Well, you know what's funny? I remember last year when Hiroki Totoki showed up. I had a guy in my chat named Carl Weeb, smart guy.
Yeah.
He real smart. He said, "Yo," he had DM me and Sean. He said, when the finance guy shows up, there's some things going on. There's some issues happening. He said this last year, early last year, when Hiroki showed up, and I think it's just that PlayStation, they acquired Bungie to try to figure out how to do this games as a service pivot. But at the end of the day, trying to do 12 games as a service simultaneously was a pretty bad idea, especially with hindsight looking back, like what the 12? And then trying to take their big single player franchises and making them a games as a service just doesn't. I don't know, I know people always say, yo, man, these billion-dollar corporations, they know what they're doing. And yes, they do, because they're billion-dollar corporations. But at the end of the day, they're still human beings that make dumb decisions sometimes. Right. And for them to cancel 8 of their 12 live service games is a waste of money, is a waste of time, it's a waste of resources. And Sony Bend and Blue Point will probably go back to doing remasters, right? Sony Bend, are they going to become a support studio? I can't see them greenlighting another project. If they did, that game wouldn't come out to the PS6. Like, what is going to happen? And there's so many 8 live service. You said it, Matt. 8 live service games, bro. Canceled within the past 2 to 3 years or 2 years.
I think 2. Yeah.
Imagine if that was Xbox, guys. The media would be going absolutely crazy about Xbox. 8 live service games. It's something that they're not familiar with. They tried to hire Bungie to help them with that. That has been a total disaster. And if you look at the future, this explains why they haven't had showcases.
Yeah.
This explains the last showcase they had was abysmal. In 3 years, they had one showcase, and that one was terrible. Guys are begging for showcases because they want to see a future roadmap, but in reality, they don't really have much of a future roadmap. You can't cancel all of these games and think they're gonna pop right back up with a brand new game ready to go. No.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure this was the only project Sony Ben and Blue Point was working on. They don't have a huge studio like Naughty Dog where they're working on multiple projects at the same time. Mismanagement. I'm sorry, this is mismanagement, right? They always accuse Xbox of mismanagement. Okay, fine. What the hell do you call this? What do you call this?
Blatant mismanagement.
Bro, like I'm
blatant.
saying, it's like, what do you call this? So I will say this. I saw a lot of PlayStation fanboys happy about this. Like, yes, thank God, no more live service games. Are you guys paying attention to what's going on? It's okay to say you don't like the live service pivot, right? But you need to realize PlayStation chose this for a reason. They decided to invest in live service for a reason. We heard many times our AAA big budget games are not sustainable. like of course they could have a few of them, but the PS4 generation they had nothing but single player games, and trust me, they felt it. Okay, we need to do something with live service because they obviously know how much live service games make. They have the platform with Fortnite and Call of Duty, but they want that first party live service, that 100%. They don't want the 30, just the 30. They want the 100%. So this is what they're doing. It's unfortunate they've canceled that many games in only a couple of years. It just goes to show you that any PlayStation guys in the chat, any PlayStation guys want to clip this, but PlayStation, they're mismanaging their studios and looks like they don't know what the hell they're doing. And it's clear Jim Ryan was probably pushed out.
I got a theory on Jim Ryan, right? Because the timing of events, right? They were excited, I think. We know internally from like the conversations that have been out there and reports that they were really excited for Concord. We've heard the terms using like toxic positivity.
Yeah.
Nobody was allowed to speak negative about it. They thought it was going to be their next big, huge franchise. It was going to be like their Star Wars and all this stuff. And I think what happened, they had that showcase last year, which was the first one in a long time, right? And they were ready to reveal their big multiplayer games, right? We had Concord, we had Fair Games, we had Marathon, right? And then after that showcase, the PlayStation community, remember Keely's polls up there and everybody else's polls up there were like D. Everybody hated it. PlayStation fans hated it. They could see the metrics on conversation on social media and all these things about what the hell, what kind of show was that from the PlayStation community as well. You could watch the live streams back about the PlayStation community watching that show, and all of them were like, "What the fuck is this?" Right? What the hell is this thing? What are we watching? And I think they got the sentiment then and there because it was just a couple months after that, Jim Ryan announced he was leaving. They realized at that moment we done fucked up. They already after that they had announced some cancellations of some of the games of service games. Jim Ryan announces he's leaving. Then you put out Concord and have that disaster. So now we're to the point to where they're only resting on the laurels of a few of the 12 that they had went all in on during the Jim Ryan era. And we said this at the time that Jim Ryan got out because he saw the shit hitting the fan of what he created when he was at PlayStation. 100%. Now, they needed to do games of service games like you're saying, right? And I will get to Jasper in a minute because I know he agrees with that too. And other kinds of experiences and stuff. We all want more variety on PlayStation. That's something we've been asking for a long time. But their mistake was going all in on all of their franchises all at once, and something they don't know how to do.
Yeah, all of their studios.
Canceling the home runs, the ones that people were most excited for, the ones that people were waiting for, like factions and stuff like that. The Spider-Man 2 multiplayer, not having Spider-Man 2 be co-op, right? There was so many misses that they could have easily had. Instead, they rest all their hopes and dreams on Concord and Fair Games. And I think this is what we're left with. I think, thankfully for them, they had Helldivers 2 hit on PC very well. Otherwise, this would even be more of a disaster, right? But that was the one I think they had the least faith in. They barely marketed it, right? And thanks to the PC community who know good games, right? And they were like, hey, this is actually pretty damn great. And they carried it. So despite PlayStation even trying to sabotage it within themselves due to the PlayStation Network situation and PlayStation IDs and all that kind of stuff, they ended up turning around and fixing it because Arrowhead and the community tried to push for that. And so Helldivers 2 had a resurrection again, and I think it's going to be a steady, stable game for a long time. But besides that, man, I think you're going to have maybe 11 out of 12 gone. We'll see what happens in the long run. But Jasper, it's good to have you back because I remember when we were debating all this stuff, what was like a year ago or maybe with all of this stuff, and you were saying like, I'm excited for this future for PlayStation, right? Well, your future that you were excited for is dismantling before your eyes. So I want to,
I know.
I want to know how you feel about that.
So for me, like all this news, like at the end of the day, like Jim Ryan came out and said that, like, yeah, we're going to make 12, 15 Lifesavers games and only 2 or 3 of them are going to hit. That's fine, whatever. I don't have a problem with that. My issue with PlayStation has always been single player, third person action adventure games. Like, that's why I was excited for them to reach out to start doing these live service games, is because Sony would have to start being creative again and diversifying their portfolio and lineup. And whether these games were good or bad or not, it didn't matter. It's just Sony was actually going to start being creative again, was the point of that.
Yeah.
And you would still get those single player games eventually, but now we're just going back to the God of War fucking Ragnarok 3 coming out in 5 years or whatever. It's like, cool. I don't give a shit about the new God of War. I like the old one. So PlayStation's lineup for the last 10 years hasn't really interested me. The Spider-Man game I thought was all right, but then you cancel Spider-Man Online, the one that would actually be more interesting, because I have all my friends play it. And now it's just, we're back to old PlayStation again.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't give a shit. So that's why it's kind of been disappointing for me. Like,
I think you're right. You're going to be back to more of the same, but it's not only just more of the same, but it's also delayed more of the same. Right?
yeah,
So it's like they could have had some new IPs or other franchises kick off, but it's like now they're 3 years behind where there would have been, at least.
yeah.
Right.
And I think you'll probably get maybe like, I don't even know if the Intergalactic game's going to be out this generation. I think a lot of their games now is going to be, you'll be waiting for next generation PlayStation before you actually get big games. You may get 1 or 2 more this gen, and that's it.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
100%, man. We got Alvin, member for 31 months, says canceling games of service games won't make Spider-Man 3 any cheaper. No, but you can look forward to Spider-Man 2 remake or remaster at some point to help fund it, possibly. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Shout out to Sucka Free 2665, $2 super chat that says not a fan, but PS still more popular than Xbox by far. Yeah, I don't think anybody here's arguing about the popularity of PlayStation.
Look at the console sales. Beautiful.
But popularity doesn't do anything for you.
5-1.
Console sales cure everything, guys. Did you know that?
Yeah, you can put your PlayStation sticker up on your wall, your poster, or you wear your T-shirt or whatever, and say, "Hey, I'm representing a more popular brand." But what the fuck does that do for you for your games? Hey, I'm cool because I'm with the cool crowd. I'll wait 5 years. Like, what does that do for you? Popularity contest? Nah, fuck that. I want games, man. 3-bit. What you feeling, man? Like, I know we talked a little bit about this here and there, but yes, canceling stuff. By the way, you ghosted us last night. You were like, "Hey, do you need me to come on the show?" I was like, "Hey, yeah, sure."
Oh, that was crazy.
And then you just fucking disappeared. Like, where the hell did 3-bit go?
You fell asleep, didn't you?
Did you like pass out at your desk or something?
No, so first off, I was watching a show at the time, right? And then I seen you were live. I'm like, oh, cool. Let me see what's going on. I didn't see Pong. I was like, oh, is everything cool? Is like Pong okay, whatever? And then I was like, oh, do you need me to jump in?
Were you listening to the show, or were you listening to the show?
I was like kind of doing both, so I couldn't hear if you actually said
"Hey,
it.
3-bit, yeah, get in here, man.
Come in
yeah,
here.
we love you. Get in here. You have a green light. Come on in." And
I was just like, every time I looked at it,
I don't know. Was that a yes?
yeah, because every time I looked at it, I'm like, did he say it? I'm like, I'll still wait. And then I looked, and I'm like, man, he still didn't say anything. And then eventually I saw.
Because this motherfucker, it says I sent you a DM, and I'm like, okay, so I go and check Twitter. Obviously,
yeah.
Well, 3-bit's using Blue Sky now, so I gotta go and okay, so I gotta go to my phone, go to the Blue Sky app.
Yeah.
All right, it's fine.
Anyways, my bad.
No, it's
so I mean, I'm kind of mixed on whether or not it was a good idea to put forth an agenda for like multiple live service games. Like, I think me and Jasper had the same stance for a while. Like Sony has said several times that their first party isn't sustainable. So making that pivot is kind of like their way of getting out of that bubble, their way of kind of competing, because they don't have the same amount of money as Xbox, their strategy and things like that. I don't know. But I feel like Jim Ryan was kind of reading the tea leaves, seeing that their current library just focuses on single player games, a lot of it, which aren't as profitable as like live service games. I mean, they made investments saying like, "Hey, we don't really know how to make multiplayer games. Let's go over and buy Bungie." And they realized over time how much Bungie was hiding their numbers. They
Yeah.
made like huge studio cuts, cutting over I think it was like 17% of its workforce. They looked at Concord and like, this is our savior. Are into like live service games, kind of chasing those trends, but not really looking at the market. There's like way better games that are hero shooters and free, and you're asking people to pay for it. So trying to jump into, like a crowded market there. And then meanwhile, you have Xbox, who has been making live service games almost since its inception, like
Yep.
kind of embedded into its DNA. Like Halo 2 was kind of the start to Xbox Live in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like a lot of its features, anyways. And then you have like a game like Elder Scrolls Online, a game that no one really thinks about making like 15 million a month, right? And that's just one of the games Xbox owns that is online. No one thinks about. No one's like, oh, I wonder, they got Minecraft and all this different stuff. Just that one game that no one even thinks about is making bank. So Sony's top most played games every month are live service games. A lot of the most played games on PlayStation are Xbox IPs. So when you
Usually
see
3 or
place
4, right?
Yeah, it's like
Every
4,
week.
like
Yeah.
Minecraft is usually at the top. You got Call of Duty constantly hitting up there. Then of course you get like the NBA, 2Ks, the other stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
So
Overwatch was actually doing really well. I mean, I think Marvel Rivals knocked it down a little
Oh
bit,
yeah.
but
Overwatch climbed up there. So every time I see like PlayStation players boast about sales, they are boasting about like a specific metric being console sales and ignoring the metric that investors are genuinely worried about. Like you had Hiroki Totoki saying, we need to focus more on software sales and reoccurring revenue. And a lot of their games don't really rely on recurring revenue, so they keep reselling what's already there. They keep making remakes, remasters, selling you a remake of a remaster and things like that because that's what they have right now. So a lot of mixed things. Like I understand why they wanted to do the live service route. It's because it's like that's the strategy of based on what they have. Like they don't have the same budget or really the same vision as Xbox in a lot of ways. So they're like, okay, well, shoot, let's make a bunch of live service games. That'll fix our problem because a lot of our studios are not really focused on that. But they're looking at the what is actually selling each month, and it's usually live service games. So they have a
Yeah.
lot to figure out there. It's crazy. I believe someone in the chat said 20 games they canceled. I remember they announced 12, or I don't remember the initial number,
for
but
games as
they
service
canceled a lot.
games, there was 12 announced with 8 cancellations
Okay.
so far.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people also aren't counting like Spider-Man Online because that was never officially announced. It was just from the
Oh
leaks
yeah,
from
yeah.
Insomniac. So maybe
Yeah.
they're counting that.
It's
Well,
actually crazy. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
Do you know where they're coming up with the 20 dirt? I know you keep receipts.
no, I don't know the 20. I do know they did cancel other games that just wasn't live service games,
Yeah.
like the KOTOR remake. I know that's not a first party game, but that was
Right.
that was a time exclusive maybe or whatever. There's another game. So I'm not sure where the 20 come from, but hey, it sounds good.
Sounds about right. It's just crazy though.
Yeah.
Like they genuinely
Sounds good.
they have like a terrible management team because they had clear markers of what could be successful, but they are just wasting money at this point. Like Last of Us Online could have been it was supposedly to the developers it was close to completion. It was almost ready to market and they canceled that, and it's like I don't know, a lot of dumb people working over there in my opinion
Yeah.
for multiplayer. So I don't know.
So this guy just quote tweeted us and says, "Breaking news: Xbox podcaster thinks PlayStation sucks." Man, okay, so we are finally in a week where we actually have legitimate, like, PlayStation breaking news that they have cancellation of 2 more of their games. And all of us here are gamers who will play wherever the games that we want to play are, right? But motherfucker, every single week, even when there's nothing to talk about, all these other PlayStation podcasts always do is make up shit about Xbox all the damn time. So we have a time right now where we actually have legitimate criticism at the direction and the mismanagement at PlayStation Studios for handling the game's output for gamers that are looking forward to play what they market the PlayStation brand as, the place to play those kind of special games that they've been telling everybody going into this generation and continue to tell everybody that's what PlayStation's all about. Meanwhile, hey, we're pressing reset internally. We're pressing reset. We decided to go a whole different direction. We done fucked up. 3 years later, we're starting over again, going back to what we did before. And it's not worth talking about. You don't think that sucks? As somebody who's a fan of the brand, you don't think that sucks? If that was Xbox doing that, I guarantee you'd have every single major publication in gaming, every single podcast out there, regardless if it's Xbox or PlayStation, shitting turds all over Xbox for at least a month. At least.
They're a day away from closing their doors.
Yeah, the topics, just how the media is already presenting this, is presenting this as like, oh, PlayStation closes 2 studios, that without any context of like this is more, or 2 games that are in development, without any context that this is more than the 2 games. Like they've been canceling games, at least 8 or whatever the number is right now. No, you go to IGN or whatever, it says PlayStation now closes 2 games in development, God of War and Ben Studio. That'll be the title. But if Xbox closed a game or had any other context, it would be like Xbox is dead. They close another studio, another game. What is the future of Xbox? So like, it's kind of exhausting to be frank with you. But I think I'm curious about PlayStation's future in terms of like how they are going to strategize around needing live service games, or what their strategy is going to be.
I think
don't know.
I think they're going to keep the
But-
same strategy, whereas they seek out third-party games and buy them up as exclusivity, like they did with Silent Hill and Stellar Blade and stuff like that. Like that's the way
Like,
they're
keep
going
the
to have to fill.
third-party
That's
deals,
the way they're going to
and
have to fill their yearly lineup for the next couple of years, is go out and buy third-party games for exclusivity.
Hey, yo, Jasper,
then less.
I agree, but there's one thing I want to talk about with that. The third party pivot that they've done, like last year, they was filled with third party exclusive, timed exclusive games. A lot of those third party games they announced in 2023 and 2022. They haven't announced any, like with the exception of Phantom Blade Zero. I
Mhm.
can't think of any more third party games that will probably be exclusive that they've announced. We know Square Enix isn't rocking out with them exclusively anymore. So it's kind of like, what's going to happen? Maybe they'll have a state of play next month and show off a bunch of third-party exclusives for 2024. Because I'm kind of like, they usually will announce those games ahead of time.
But at the same time, like we've seen where games come out and announce that they're for Xbox, and they still buy them up and be like, "You're not for Xbox anymore." Like a couple months later.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean that's their way of competing. Like it kind of works for them more because of their market position, right? Like naturally, a lot of developers develop for the PlayStation first, and then they go to Xbox and Nintendo. Nintendo almost lasts for a lot of third-party deals. There's not a lot of games on Nintendo. Yeah, but I guess so. I that's a good point. I wonder if going forward they just start relying more on third party and just guising it as like, this is our Sony game. I mean, a lot of people associate a lot of Square Enix games with Sony, even though they're probably changing that.
That was a
pretty
huge
soon.
thing last year.
Mm-hmm.
3-bit. That was a huge thing last year. They were acting like those Square Enix games were PlayStation games, and now that's gone.
Yeah, I don't think it's very long before we get the announcement of those games going to Xbox, as well as potentially some of the other
Yeah, next week.
exclusives that they had last year.
That did happen with the Pearl Abyss team as well. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
They were like, they said Sony approached them or something for exclusive deal, and they were like, yeah, no.
We said that early this gen that eventually these deals would become more expensive for PlayStation to make, and that some of their partners would end up backing out because they're going to see more of the value in being in more places, and it's just exactly
Also,
what's
like,
happening.
do you think that maybe some of these studios are backing out of those deals because the Switch 2 is also around the corner and they'll be able to maybe put
Absolutely.
the game on the Switch?
They're finally
believe-
able to, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, finally.
I believe it's a combination of all of that. Even if Xbox version of their games only sold 1 million, that's still 1 million more sales than you would have had. And I believe Square Enix is realizing that they've dropped their games exclusively on PlayStation for the most part this generation, and now they're like, yo, we can't do it anymore. They see Sega is thriving, they see Capcom is thriving, these other third parties that's full multi-platform, they're doing well. Square Enix is like, you know what? And like you said, 3-bit, they probably want to like see the Nintendo Switch 2 maybe a little bit more capable to put some of their games on that platform. They just said, you know what, we can't. The PlayStation console isn't enough anymore. I mean, they didn't even put their games on PC. Like some of their games on PC at launch. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. The PlayStation console just isn't enough. The casuals buy the PS5. We know that. And they just say, no, we can't do it anymore. So we will see what happens. But I'm thinking they're not going to have as many third-party exclusives as they had before. That's just my opinion. I can
Or there will be
wrong.
less substantial ones.
I think it would be less because if you think about Square Enix alone, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy 16, Foam Stars. I mean, for Spoken, this generation, they've had several PlayStation exclusives. Take those out right now.
Yeah, they're going to be like trying to find partners that really need the money, or like smaller
like
double A
Blade
teams,
kinda,
stuff like that.
like the Stellar Blade dev.
Yeah, stuff that they can like, hey, this is good enough to kind of draw some excitement, and hype, but it's not going to cost us an arm and a leg, right? Shout out to God Emperor Sofa King, member for 17 months. Said should play Gaz's Jim Ryan song. I haven't heard this yet. I need to go listen to Gaz's
Gaz
Jim
was
Ryan.
out there wilding to
all I see on my timeline since yesterday is like Gaz like screaming into the
Gaz has been talking so much shit the last couple of days. Funny.
Sucker Free 2665 with the $5. Appreciate you. Says I'm just saying, even with Game Pass, people still choose PlayStation over Xbox, and I think it comes from PlayStation being so popular. Yeah, because if they were using their brains, they wouldn't do that. So it's got to be for a reason. It's because it's the de facto casual box to buy to play the new NBA 2K or the new Call of Duty or the new FIFA or whatever.
Your point, it's not about having brains. It's because the mass amount of gamers are not us type gamers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they only play, so they don't look at Game Pass as a value because they don't care about having that many games available to them. They don't care about the vast majority of those games in any way, shape, or form. So they look at it and go, "It's got." That's where it differentiates from Netflix, though. Well, just a minute, Jess.
Yeah,
that's where it differentiates from Netflix, right? With TV and movie shows, people are willing to go outside of their norm or find something. They have a wider variety when it comes to TV and movies that they find through Netflix, right? They will try things, they will watch things, or the wife or husband or the partner, whatever, kids, etc. So there's a wider variety. Gaming still is very specific because it's an interactive entertainment form. So people are they're more picky in a lot of ways. And with the masses, they really only want to spend time with the Call of Duties, the Fortnites, the freaking Maddens, the 2Ks. So they just look at Game Pass, and even if they know about it, it's like, yeah, but I'm never going to sit down and try any of this shit. So why am I going to pick this up? Oh, all my buddies are on PlayStation. Well, I'm buying the PlayStation. Like, that's just how it is.
And those guys don't care to buy Astrobot.
No. Yeah. That's why Astrobot sold 2.5 million. It's not even the same fan base that you're talking about with Nintendo. And I think that's the thing that people are realizing. I saw some good discussions about this, actually. I was perusing. But there was discussion because PlayStation has this mystique in line with a Nintendo where it seems their loudest fan base they are all about the exclusives, that's still important to PlayStation because of how many copies they sell, etc. But when you look at it versus Nintendo, it's not even close to that level, right? It isn't, because PlayStation gets those mass people that aren't the gamers that we are, that aren't the enthusiasts. They get that kind of mass. Whereas Nintendo fans that go out and buy the Switch, it's not just because Nintendo's popular. It's not just because the Switch is popular. It's because generally those people love Nintendo games. And so that's why their first party titles sell like no other first party titles. And they can get away with that. So even though PlayStation tried to cultivate that kind of same, it isn't. And that shows up in a lot of their software title sales when they can't match Nintendo's ratio. And that's proof in the pudding. And Astrobot is a perfect example of that. They aren't on that level that they
how many would a new
or that their fans
Mario,
think they are.
3D Mario, have sold on the Switch?
Right.
You know what I mean?
25 plus million.
Yeah, but
Right.
then Astrobot does like a million and a half or
It's like
something
two and a half. I think
it's
it's a 2.5, something like that. Yeah, whatever. Again, it just shows the difference, and I think that that's something that gets lost when we start to have these conversations, or when people start having these conversations, because you do have to take a step back and look at these companies and say, well, they're kind of similar, but they're not, and their fan bases, yeah, there's greater numbers. Look at the console sales, but you're talking about a different type of gamer. They're not the enthusiast gamer. They really aren't, and that affects even PlayStation first party titles for sales. Yeah, you put out a game like Spider-Man with an IP that appeals to the masses. Sure, you're going to see that bump. You create a cool IP like God of War. Sure, you're going to see a little bit, but God of War didn't reach Spider-Man. Why? Because Spider-Man reached more masses and people want to go play Spider-Man. And then as that keeps breaking down, you get into the Horizons, right? And all of a sudden everybody's like, well, why isn't Horizon selling as much as God of War? Because it's not as cool as an IP, obviously. And so now you lose more and more people as you start detracting from that. Whereas again, Nintendo can put out a Zelda, a Mario, a freaking Metroid, and they all roughly sell the same. Sure, there's variances in there, but they're talking massive numbers of people buying their games. And that's just because the loyalty there is completely different level than even PlayStation has. PlayStation is one of the cool kids. They get people to buy their console because all the friends have it, but it's not the same as that Nintendo loyalty factor.
And I was just gonna add on to your earlier point. Like we've seen it a number of times of where like studios and publishers come out with the statistics that like gamers now play like 4 or 5-year-old games. That's where they spend the majority of their times is in older titles or stuff. So
yeah, it's the same lineup. Sir Connor shows it all the time. It's the same freaking lineup over and over.
It's been that way for years. And like you said, Nintendo clearly they're a different audience. They're Nintendo fans. Like I don't know anybody that has bought a Nintendo Switch for third-party games like people do for PlayStation 5. Like I mean, of course, you know the hardcore are hardcore PlayStation fans and they love the PlayStation IP. But the majority of PlayStation 5s are casuals. That has been the console that they've chosen for the past 2 generations.
Box.
The third-party box for the PS4 is the same thing. The 360 was the casual box, right? We can be honest. That was the casual box.
Absolutely.
Xbox lost it. The PS4 became the PS5. So I'm sure Xbox would love to be in this position for their box to be the casual box. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on it at all. But that's why you see their big IPs doesn't sell as much as a Nintendo. Nintendo, bro, they have a loyal fan base. Like you said, Pong, their games, their first party IP sell 25, 30 million consoles. Right. Yeah. If every Xbox first party game sold like that, they probably wouldn't have a damn Game Pass now.
Correct. Well, that's the point. And Dirt, you're spot on here, and that's it's a valid point to the topic at hand, because that's why you hear PlayStation saying that these aren't sustainable at this point anymore. Now that we've reached these budgets and time frames, they're not they used to be much more sustainable, right? When the budgets were much smaller, right?
Mhm.
They were still $60 games, right? They've only raised them by $10, right? Which is, again, I don't think you need to, but the budgets have exploded 10 times what they were back at just a generation and a half ago. These
Yeah.
are 10 times the budget. That's why they're not sustainable, because your third parties, that's great. Like you said, they are the third party box. You're getting a cut of each third party game sold,
Mhm.
but that only takes you so far. They want that 100% cut. That's why they went for this games as a service initiative, was to
Right.
try to get a couple big winners out of that lottery
Mhm.
to go ahead and be able to pay for all the first party stuff that they want to do. And that was the whole goal that Jim laid down. And it's unraveling. But this is a different industry now for PlayStation specifically. Again, Nintendo created this whole pond for themselves, and it's working very well. Even the Switch 2, we know, is now coming in underpowered, using cheap shit, a lot of cheap shit. And that's what they do because they know their fan base don't care. Okay. So they're going to get away with it again. But PlayStation, Xbox, they can't get away with that. They have to find new revenue streams to make up for the fact that their first party titles, their big 300-400 million dollar games don't sell like Nintendo's 20 million, 50 million, maybe push it $100 million games. They don't sell anywhere near it. So they've got to find new revenue, and that's what PlayStation is trying to do right now. And it failed. The first initiative failed. They got one winner. Helldivers 2 is a great game, and I love that game.
Yeah.
And it's going to keep going for them. But that's all they got out of this, and now they got all this wasted time and resources. Sorry, guys. I love this topic. It's really fun,
Yeah.
and that's why I went on that rant last night, because I
point,
can't
man.
believe the PlayStation guys aren't actually, especially the guys who always like to do the higher talk or say they do about Xbox. I can't believe they're not jumping on this. This is a fascinating time for all these companies right now. We're close to next gen, people. We are close.
Possibly
And
next year
this
for
changing
Xbox.
everything. Possibly next year for
Yeah.
Xbox.
Yeah.
We're close to handhelds for both PlayStation and
Yeah.
Xbox coming out for the first time. And PlayStation jumping back into the handheld market again after Shuhei just had some very interesting comments about the Vita. This is a fascinating time for this kind of stuff. I love this industry because of it. So
I
just think
think
it's a really cool topic.
the handheld thing, it makes more sense for them now to be diving back in because they don't have to make separate kinds
They
of
don't.
games. Now
Correct.
the same game can be made for the handheld that's being
Yes.
created for the consoles, right?
Correct. Yep.
Shout out to Chris Jones that hit us with a $5 super chat. Said, because my brother Pong was going in last night on PM in the PM. Fire 100. Shout out Chris Jones. He went
Like, you
in
see, you
tonight
did?
too.
But more interesting about the handheld thing is that they're going to be in direct competition there. Even if
Oh,
they're
yeah.
not in direct competition with the consoles anymore, you're going to have to think they're going to be in direct competition there, right? You're going to have to think that that's going to overlap in that space a little bit.
And all
So-
the third party
then
handheld
all
devices
three.
out there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If all three go handheld, that'll be interesting. Xbox goes handheld, PlayStation, Nintendo. Yeah, that's an interesting
Steam
times.
too. Steam is like third party
Oh, yep.
devices from Steam. Sucka Free 2665 hit us again with a $2 super chat. Appreciate the support. Sucka says when GTA 6 drop, it's gonna boost PlayStation popularity more.
Damn, this dude is
Not
gone.
necessarily.
Hey, well, I just guys,
He's not a damn exclusive.
I appreciate the super chats, but I don't think any of us here have been arguing against PlayStation's popularity. We're discussing the mismanagement behind the scenes, and we're actually talking about how popular it is that it ends up these kind of things end up getting ignored, right? And shout out to Big Mad Mo, member for 17 months. Says shout out to the panel, boot on next season. Well, we got dirt here for that, so perfect guest this
Yeah.
week.
That dude is annoying. I'm sorry. I mean,
What?
I'm sorry. Hold on. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
It's going to boost. GTA 6 is going to sell consoles, bro. 100%.
100%. Yeah.
It's going to sell a lot of PS5s, and surprisingly, I think it's going to sell some Xboxes also. But damn it, man. You said 3 consecutive super chats about PlayStation's popularity. We know the damn console is popular. We know the brand is more popular than Xbox. Who are you trying to convince? We know. Damn. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, it's just
we
yeah.
can't see
No,
any-
we got another $2 super chat from him too. So I appreciate the support, man. Keep them coming. I like Xbox, but it feels like it's not needed. Well,
Here's Here's the thing, because I'm probably going to go on a rant here. So, if you're a PlayStation fan, ask yourself why more than half your player base is still on PS4. Now, see, here's the problem. They believed in generations, and then they moved on, and they finally started making PS5 exclusive games. And that's where they really fucked up. Because if you're on a PS4, but you don't have the money to buy a PS5, you're stuck. You can't play the game. On Xbox, it's a little bit different story. Yeah, sure. Half our player base is probably still on Xbox One. But there's a difference. You can actually play it through Game Pass or through cloud streaming on your Xbox One and still play these next generation games. Why? Because the cloud hardware that's out there is the next generation console. So when you look at things like somebody may mention in the chat earlier, when you look at things like Forza Horizon 5, reached 43 million people. Well, if they only made it for the next gen console and completely ignored people being able to stream it on their phones, their laptops, a browser, their Xbox One, or even being able to play it on PC, I don't think they would have even half that amount of people in Forza Horizon 5. Because Xbox gives you options to play beyond just the plastic box of today, you can actually still play the game and be part of the actual gaming conversation. You can't do that with PlayStation. And Square found that out the hard way. Sure, when what was it, Final Fantasy VII, was it Rebirth? Did they go Rebirth remake or remake Rebirth? I can't remember.
Remake Rebirth.
But
Remake Rebirth.
yeah, the first one was available on PS4 and on PC, and it did well. The second part wasn't on PC until more recently, and it wasn't on PS4. And you guess what happened? It flopped. It flopped hard. So hard that Square is like, screw you guys, I'm taking my ball and going home. Yep. Or I'm going over to Xbox now because obviously you guys aren't keeping the lights on. So when we look at this conversation as far as PlayStation, as somebody that owns a PlayStation 5 and plays it fairly regularly, mainly for GT 7, but to hear that they've canceled more games this generation than they've actually released from their first party, you have to ask yourself, what's going on behind the scenes? Like the minute you hear a studio head or some major director for a game leaves Xbox, it's like, oh, mismanagement. They must be, everything is on fire. They're closing down. But they actually close studios down. The gaming media is like, everything is cool. They actually canceled games. Like, name some of the canceled games that Xbox had. Like Beyond Scalebound. Like, how many other games did they cancel? Now, they've shelved some of the things that Coalition's worked on, but then again, shelving doesn't mean it's completely gone forever, and we're probably going to hear about some of that stuff here soon. But all in all, they focused on their next big project, which was E-Day. So after E-Day is done, they'll probably pick those back up. The other thing that's different for Xbox versus PlayStation, each one of their studios has multiple teams working on multiple projects. You would think by now that Naughty Dog would be able to do more than two things at a time, walk and chew gum kind of deal. But they canceled Factions, and now they have to go back to the drawing board, I guess, for, The Last of Us 3. Now, sure, we'll see Intergalactic at some point, but do we think it's going to be this gen or if it's going to be next gen? And do we even think it's within the next 3 or 4 years? Like, they showed us very little as far as what the game is about. Sure, you're a bounty hunter to some extent, but is that all it's going to be? Is there going to be space combat? From what I'm hearing, some of the rumors say no, there's no space combat. So it's just go to your ship as the hub, get the bounty, travel to the planet, rinse and repeat.
I better be able to fly through the atmosphere and land on that fucking planet.
Yeah,
It better not be a loading.
If you can't go to 1,000 planets and actually land and fly through the atmosphere on each one of them, we got a problem here.
Yeah.
If you can't land on the sun, if you can't land and walk on the fucking sun, we got a problem here. Or on Jupiter. If you can't
should be able to land on the gas planet.
Why can't I land on Jupiter, guys? I don't fucking understand what's going on here. This isn't realistic.
Gas giants.
I opened up a can of worms on that, but it's funny to me because we noticed the advertisements in Intergalactic, and yeah, they fit in for the aesthetic for the 80s scene and so forth, the Adidas shoes, the Sony, Discman and whatnot. But it's like you have to realize Concord cost them over $500 million. If you want to include the cost of the studio and the cost of Concord and then closing up shop, you're not going to recoup that money, especially after doing the refunds. That makes you walk and think different. And as we see, they're starting to shut down these games as a service. Now, is it a good thing in the sense that maybe they don't want another flop like that? Most people would tend to learn and either adjust how they make the games or figure out how to fix the game and move forward. Like, look at Ubisoft and look at Xbox, and when it comes to a game that doesn't quite land as well at launch, but they keep after it, and then within a year or so, it winds up getting the player base, it winds up getting the accolades, and it winds up making them money. Fallout 76 is a good example. Rainbow Six Siege is a good example. And there's tons more to that list. But Sony doesn't have that I guess, patience or the desire or the know-how. Because, I mean, they bought Bungie on layaway, by the way. And now they're still having that house fire where it's an HR nightmare. They got one of the guys suing them for the fact that he was cut out of the contract or whatever. The other guy is buying a bunch of cars with the money that Sony paid him to keep the talent. He let them go. And then he's inviting check out his collection of cars. Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong there. There's no fire. There's no reason for Jason Schreier to have a pointed op piece or anything along those lines. No, that's all normal stuff. But the minute the director leaves from the initiative, mismanagement. Yeah, close the studio down. It's all bad. They don't know what they're doing.
You touched on something there too, Fuzz. Like real quick, that early on when we all talked about this games of service thing going for PlayStation, and we were comparing to like how everybody ignores that Microsoft and Xbox were already so great at games of service games, and they have so many of them that are popular across so many platforms. But part of the key that you just touched on was them not giving up on a game right away if it kind of falters at launch, right? And we had wondered what's going to happen if one of these games of service PlayStation games launches and it struggles out the gate. Yeah. Well, we got the perfect example of it with Concord. Now, I got to say, nobody could ever see a disaster as big of that coming, like less than 100 players. Like it's just absolutely ridiculous how bad that did.
The problem with that is they fucking charge for the game. That should have been a free-to-play game off the rip anyway.
Right,
exactly.
That too.
Wouldn't matter.
I don't think that mattered because remember that open beta where everybody could play it. It was still
the beta had more players than the game.
I played it too. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
You should. Anybody who's played Concord should get like a special badge to wear for the rest of their life because you are rare. You're a rare breed, right?
I tried playing the beta, but then it wouldn't let me sign in my PlayStation account. I said, "Fuck it," and uninstall it.
So like, I'm just saying, like, we wondered what was going to happen if they struggled out the gates, but it was so bad that they got a taste of it, and we're like, well, we just can't even do this. We're going to cancel all these because if they struggle, we're out the gates. We're going to have to shut down shop on these, and so we're going to cancel them before they even have a chance to release, and we're going to press reset on development at multiple studios. Yeah. These two are just the ones this year that we actually have named a studio and an idea of what the project they're working on. The other ones were like, hey, we canceled 6 games of service games, and everybody's like, oh, okay, they're moving on from that. That was like a flash in the pan. I don't even remember anybody talking about that too much when that happened last year, when that news came out. There must have been some other kind of negative Xbox news that happened that same week. Everybody was so worried about Xbox games going to PlayStation. They were ignoring the fact that 6 other games just got canned at PlayStation behind the scenes and what's happening at those studios. Meanwhile, we're sitting there still with no roadmap for PlayStation, still no showcases for PlayStation, still no idea of what the fuck they're creating until we finally get a glimpse at a new IP from one of their major tentpole studios with Intergalactic, which had no fucking year on it.
Hey, but we got years in time frame for the CES show for movies and anime. So
and smell-o-vision.
Yeah,
you can smell Last of Us now. That's how you do it.
Yeah, so your room just smells like shit all the time.
I was like, who wants to smell a post-apocalyptic Last of Us? I don't know. Yeah. Good idea.
Was that a thing? Smell-o-vision?
Yeah, they're trying to introduce smells through PlayStation or some shit.
Why do I want to smell my video game? I don't want to know what Kratos smells like. I don't imagine it's lovely.
Yeah, I mean,
The better example would have been like GT7. Like if you're a petrol head or a car fanatic, smelling burning rubber or fuel, that makes sense. Smelling a clicker from The Last of Us, nah.
Yeah,
I
smelling
pass.
dead bodies doesn't
Yeah.
sound pleasant.
Man, I'll be playing like Lawnmower Simulator for all the fucking times. Oh, my house smells like fresh cut grass. Yeah, it's great. Shout out to Sucker Free 2665 with another $2 super chat. Says PS cancel games getting ignored because of popularity. Appreciate the super chat for restating the same thing I said on the show before you super chatted. But yeah, appreciate that, man.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's just down to the media. The media, I mean, I said it earlier on the show. How they will phrase this is Sony cancels more games, and then that's it.
So
That'll be it.
do you think with Smell-O-Vision it'll be another like $10 upgrade fee for like the remasters?
I don't think it'll ever come out.
Now with
like
Smell? No?
it's just another thing they patent
Oh,
that they could probably just sell to their investors because it was premiered at CES. They kind of had
This was patent for
bunch of
TV a long time ago. by
Yeah, there was
somebody.
a TV
Yeah.
thing for like
Yeah, they
20 years
tried
ago.
to do this. Yeah,
They do it
they-
at
they
theaters
actually
Yeah.
in like the
Weird.
4XD or whatever and stuff like
Oh,
that.
they've been
sometimes.
pumping popcorn smells through the vents forever just to get you hungry. That's a known fact.
Oh shoot, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's been crazy. But like start into comparison to what Xbox first party studios has been up to, right? Like Fuzzy mentioned, like we haven't had a lot of news on canceled projects, right? There was a
The
couple,
Halo stuff.
yeah, but like
Yeah.
there was Halo stuff with
Mhm.
343 with a bunch of layoffs there, canceling the future plans they had for Infinite. Got a game still came out though with Infinite, and they continued to support it for years.
Well, no, I think they also said that they had like spin-off things that they were trying to work on, but
So those were pitches that didn't get approved, and that Certain Affinity also has a project that was reworked into something bigger. So we don't know what that Certain Affinity project is, but that was
That's
probably
right.
going to be the battle royale.
Yeah,
That maybe
that
something
was a
else.
rumor.
Now.
That was a rumor battle royale. Yep.
So
And
Was
and
was
one
that
Blizzard
canceled?
game- yeah, that was canceled.
Oh, okay.
That one
okay.
Blizzard game also was
Oh, yeah.
Odyssey.
that one,
Odyssey,
yeah,
yeah.
that was canceled right soon after the acquisition was
Yeah.
completed. Yeah.
I think Matt Booty saw the hell. He's like, wait. Y'all been developing this game for how long? You know what? Cut this shit.
Yeah.
This game, no, cut it.
I think that tells us something too, though. Like Xbox has so many damn studios now, and there's so many projects that we know about and coming in the works with this kind of pipeline that when one of these like further off things or something like that like is like okay, but like we have like this year alone with 2025 is
Incredible.
Avowed, South of
Couple
Midnight,
weeks. Yeah.
Doom: The Dark Ages,
Mm.
Fable,
Mhm.
another Call of Duty.
Preach.
Now we have possibly also Towerborn will get its full actual release, so that's also first party.
You say Outer Worlds too?
Nope. Forgot that
Mhm.
one.
It's
Outer Worlds 2. Sorry, thanks Jasper. So we're already at what, 6 or 7?
Mhm.
Was it okay? So where am I at 6 or 7? I lost count. Anyway,
I think it was
Remake.
7.
now the Oblivion remake.
Outer Worlds 2 would be something. Yep.
Now, yeah, Oblivion remake sounds pretty concrete. Now it hasn't officially been announced yet.
all but announced basically at this point. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
from
I think it comes out like a month or
all-
two after
a
the
bunch of
E3 show.
respectable- Yeah, I mean Nate the Hate said it was June release, so it could be even Shadow Drop.
And he got
so
the Switch.
he's gotten a lot
thing,
right, so
right.
people, whatever. Again, but Jazz has basically said it is all but. I mean, it's there. It's
So the Oblivion remake. There's still more smoke about something Gears related, either possibly a Gears collection or like my shocker would be if E-Day actually is 2025, which there's a couple people in the community that
That's what I
really
heard.
believe it's happening.
Listen, that's what I heard. Now, I will say there are a few games that still kind of cautious because if GTA 6 comes out this year,
Yes.
they're probably going to
Correct.
move those games.
This could change. Yes.
Yeah.
correct.
Yep.
Yep,
And
very much so.
I, because that's, but I did hear that the industry seems to think GTA 6 is going to be 2026.
I mean,
Yeah.
I said that the second they announced the fucking trailer. I was
We
But
should
that's
know
what
very
the
shortly.
industry-
Yeah.
That's what the publishers are thinking is going to be 2026. So
They've got their investor call end
Yeah.
of March, I
Oh,
believe.
yeah,
We'll know.
soon.
We'll
Yeah,
know.
soon.
So
We'll definitely know.
Yeah.
So if they like at Take-Two call, if they say, "Yo, I'm sorry, not Gears, GTA 6 is coming out in 2025," expect some games to be moved around.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I'm hearing, man, Gears E-Day is coming this. Even Nathan Hake kind of said that. Remember, he said
Yeah.
Gears is 2025.
Tom
But
Warren
we
said
don't
it
know.
originally.
There was
Nathan
also
Hake's
that-
also on it. Like, I don't
But
know.
there was also that rumor where it was like Gears Ultimate may be coming to PlayStation. So is that the Gears news or whatever?
That was a separate one
yeah.
that he mentioned.
That was a
Yeah, that was
separate.
separate,
But they said MCC Collection and Gears were going to Switch and PlayStation. Yeah.
Which makes sense. I think you're also
Yeah.
going to see some PlayStation IPs end up going over to Nintendo
went to the
as well.
Switch.
because they don't see them as a direct competition.
Yeah,
Right.
and Xbox is heavily supporting the Nintendo Switch too.
Yeah.
They're gonna put a lot of their stuff on the Switch too, bro. A lot of-
everybody putting stuff on the
Yeah.
Switch too. I think we might even
Yeah.
see some PlayStation.
Now that
on the
they could do it, Pong.
Yeah,
I
well,
can
now that
see a
they
lot
can do
more.
it, it's just going to print money for everybody. So there's no reason not to. PS4,
But
Xbox One games, and
though.
so many of them are all backwards compatible. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Like, if the Switch launches with an internet browser, you could just play xCloud on the Switch.
You might be able to.
But
What were you
but
gonna say, Dirk?
Pong,
Ooh, that'd be
Yeah.
crazy.
back to what we were talking about earlier, though.
Yeah.
Xbox and PlayStation supporting the Nintendo Switch too.
Mhm.
Most Nintendo buyers buy it for their first party, though. So,
I know, but that's also dirt somewhat because Switch 1 was so underpowered that they didn't
True.
get a whole lot of third-party games,
good
right?
point. That's a good point.
So if this one actually can handle some of those games, like we were talking about, like PS4, Xbox One generation games, and again, a lot of the current gen games have been
Yeah,
backwards
yeah.
compatible. So whatever, if they can make them work and they're actually respectable, there's gonna be a lot of Nintendo only
That's a
fans
good
that
point.
never played any of those that probably will try some of them. And my point, Dirt, is that's why I think the rush is going to be get your games out early, especially if Nintendo doesn't have their usual launch lineup of first party titles. If
Yeah.
you get your games out within the first year, everybody wants to show off their new piece of hardware.
Right.
Everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a Nintendo fan, a PlayStation fan, or Xbox fan. What better way? Doom the Dark Ages on a Switch 2 is going to be freaking phenomenal, bro.
Yeah.
Like, again, it will sell. It will sell. And it's not going to be that expensive to port over to that thing either. It's going to be a
You also have
cakewalk.
to remember the Switch is like a lot of people just have a Switch, like they play on Xbox, but they also have a Switch. So if
There's a lot of
I know
those too.
Minecraft does this, but I don't know if like any of the other Xbox games went over. But like if your saves can transfer over between like your Xbox and your Switch, like play anywhere, then people are just gonna pick up Master Chief Collection on the Switch because they can keep playing or whatever, you know.
It's going to be interesting to see how some of that functionality could work if they're able to work with Nintendo to do that stuff. I want to go through some of these studios real quick, right? Just to put things in perspective. Like we know all these things that were canceled for PlayStation. We know some of the stuff. Like we know Naughty Dog has Intergalactic coming out at some point. We know Sucker Punch has Ghost of
Is
Yotei.
Marathon probably the next game coming out
I think that was
Fair
from
Games.
Sony?
Fair Games.
Fair Games?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
Fair
that's
Games.
by Haven.
I
Right.
think Marathon will drop before Fair Games.
You think so? Okay. I mean,
That's
they
my
could be
opinion.
possibly reworking Fair Games right now as we speak too, with all the changes.
Yeah,
So who
yeah.
knows?
Thought they
That-
were
that's a lot
reworking
of
Marathon because of the
Yes.
what do you call it? From to a hero shooter or something.
Well,
weird.
yeah, and it already became
Oh,
a
yeah.
much smaller project than it was originally planned too.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
So,
What about that Gummy Bear game? That's supposed to drop too.
Yeah, at some point.
Oh, I was speculating that the Gummy Bear game is probably like the next All Stars type
Yeah.
game to promote their IPs because
Yeah.
that's what they're trying to do nowadays. Is like let's make a Horizon movie to promote the overall IP to try to get more customers in there.
I gotta
So
be honest, man. I'm probably gonna laugh at that shit. I'm because I remember those days when they roasted Xbox games and their lack of graphical Fidelity. Oh, Crackdown 3, it looks like shit. Sea of Thieves, they made fun. I'm gonna make fun of it. You know, because I remember seeing guys compare God of War graphics to Sea of Thieves, and they had a field day with it. This is the 6 teraflops of power. What is this? Ha ha. I said, okay. So I'm going to compare Gears of War E-Day to gummy bears, and I'm going to have a field day.
this is an Xbox game. This is a PlayStation game. It's what you'll do.
They payback is, you know what?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So yeah, Death Stranding 2, I think they're publishing it still as Antonio Newman reminded us of that in the chat.
That's supposed to drop this year. So.
Yeah, so that's one for them this year. Ghost of Yotei, if it drops in 2025, which was announced for, so I'll assume yes. But other than that, like, there's not a lot known about what's actually happening at the studios.
Days Gone remastered.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was rumored.
Expecting that to be announced soon.
So
gosh.
something Shuhei Yoshida had said too was that they need to do remasters and remakes and port their games to PC to be able to afford to keep investing in new IP and their other big franchise games that cost too much money to make.
He said that.
He did.
Yeah. Maybe they weren't joking about that. And Call of Duty case, remember they were crying. They were like, Call of Duty is the reason why we can fund our first party.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't joking.
You know what's funny? I ran into an old article from 2021. I was talking about this on TTS earlier. From 2021, the old Days Gone developer from Sony Ben, like the one that left Sony Ben. Now I'm paraphrasing here, but he pretty much said that Sony is not like Microsoft. They don't have the money to just fund games. Like he said, they have to get money from other games to fund new games. That's pretty much what he said. And now we're starting to hear Yoshida say things like that. Yo, he's telling PlayStation fans, buy the remasters because that's going to help you guys get new games. So, Pong, back to your point. But console sales. So you mean the console sales isn't funding the software like the PlayStation fanboys want us to think? He's telling us buy remasters and remakes for new games.
Right.
And they've had how many remakes this generation? 7, 8, 7?
Well, Dirt, I saw some realization going around. I don't know if you saw it as well on that side as well, that from those comments, and now that this initiative has seemingly come to an end, or at least is mostly a wash and a fail, PC day one is closer than ever, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
There is, like, if this was going to allow, like I said, Jim, and I think most people believe this, that Jim's vision, that this was going to allow them to continue, at least with the single player exclusivity stuff, a lot like they had been doing. Yes, they were still going to delve into PC, but they were going to, keep them off of, PC for a year, 12 months, whatever, 18 months on some games. And they were going to be able to keep that time frame as long as they got some games as a service to fund those projects in the meantime. But now that this is kind of coming down and they've wasted all this time and wasted all this money, and obviously this is not going to be the golden goose that they thought it was going to be, your next step is, well, we got to accelerate our PC venture now, because now we've got to get those sales up front. We have to. Like, that's more important than the console sales, right?
I wonder if their only reason they're actually so far behind now is just because of the process for them, because it's not the primary studio doing it. It's like port studios and other things like that.
Nixon. Yeah, I believe all of that. Like, I believe once the Nixons catch up, they're going to be fine. But I agree with you, Pong, because like when you see something like Helldivers, the success of that game, mostly because of PC.
It was like 3-1 PC towards PlayStation.
And PC kept it alive. It's come back on PlayStation a little bit. It's been in their top played for a change. Yeah. So that's good to see. But yeah, no, PC obviously did carry it. And that was definitely a PC game. And it benefited from being there day and date. And people want to argue about multiplayer and single player. Bro, listen, that doesn't work. Everybody wants there's a certain percentage of any gaming platform, the gamers there, that have FOMO. okay, and that want to play the latest and greatest when it drops. And if you miss that portion, you are missing out on sales, because there are people then at that point that will say, screw it. If I got some time down the road, it's on sale 2 years from now, 3 years from now, I'll play it. Right.
Mhm.
But you do miss out on a portion that people will buy that game up front just because it's the latest and greatest, no matter where it's from. And that's what Sony is missing by not doing even their single player, their day and date. Multiplayer is different because you got to catch that wave early, no matter what, because multiplayer can wane way off. And
Right.
as a gamer, you want to be in there from the beginning if you want to get in on any of the good times when the popularity is there. Otherwise, when it crashes, you buy a game that is worthless, right? So it's worth nothing. So I think it's something that Sony's going to have to weigh. But yeah, I think that this argument that Helldivers 2 only succeeded because of the internet hype, which I've seen, man, they make up some bullshit all the damn time.
What
bro.
internet
It's
hype?
crazy.
Like,
Bro,
we
they
were
they
hyping
wouldn't-
it up on an Xbox podcast.
No, when it dropped, the only reason why it
okay.
was because the viral stuff that started happening. That's the only reason why it got popular. Now you're wiping out Arrowhead actually making a really good fucking game. Like
Right.
they actually made a really damn good game, but they will make up any excuse possible to say no, day and date PC doesn't make a difference to game sales. Bullshit. It absolutely does. And I think going forward, they're definitely going to start leaning into that sooner than later. I think we start hearing more about their launcher very soon, because Dirt, as much as I say they're going to go day and date PC, I don't think there's going to give up that percentage to Steam or Epic. I think they're going to get their launcher out there soon and try once again, like everybody else has tried, to take on Steam and say, oh, we're popular enough. We can do our own launcher and people come buy day one from us. That'll fail in 6 months to a year. And then they'll start putting their games Steam, Epic, everywhere, just like everybody else, day and date, and call it a day, right? That's what's going to probably happen here. Yeah.
Hey, remember when Xbox tried to compete with their Microsoft store? They say, you know what, let's put this shit in this thing.
They just put it everywhere, bro. Why? Why? Just put it everywhere, man. Just do it.
Yeah, PC gamers are different. They're different. If they feel disrespected or whatever, they won't buy your game.
Yeah.
But they will come back. But they will come back. And that's the thing that you have to know about PC is like they're one of the they can be the harshest people in the world to deal with, but they can also be the most fair out of anybody, that they will bring your game back from the freaking dead if you make some good decisions. Even if you just pissed them off 2 weeks ago, you go back on those decisions and you make amends and it's a good game, they will come back. Helldivers is the perfect example of that. They will come back, they will raise your score, and all of a sudden more people will be jumping in again. Becoming a PC gamer has opened my eyes a little bit as I've played more on the PC. I'm still console mainly, but as I play more on the PC and watch this Steam stuff more closely, it's a wild west, but it is very fair in a lot of ways. And it's actual like ratings. Like when you go to the PlayStation store or the Xbox store, you look at the ratings, you're kind of like, really? Okay, what is this?
It's like 5 stars. This game fucked my wife or whatever.
PC ratings, especially Steam ratings, are pretty damn accurate, man. And they're pretty damn fair and good. When you go read the full review breakdowns, there's a lot of nonsense, a lot of troll, a lot of fun. But man, there's a lot of good stuff in there too. So it is a different world.
I just want to go through some of these. So we kind of put a spotlight on the PlayStation games we really kind of know about. There may be a couple other ones I missed, I'm not sure, but and we went through Xbox's roadmap for this year, which also this year there's supposed to be a potential couple more games even announced that we don't know of as well, beyond what we already talked about. So we know that this is the disparity between Xbox and PlayStation right now. Okay, so 343 Industries, they're working on multiple Halo projects. We know that because they just told us last year, right? World's Edge just put out Definitive Edition 2, or Age of Empires Definitive Edition, or Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, Age of Empires
Mythology.
4, and Age of Mythology Retold, all within the last 2 years? And
2-3 years, yeah.
They're working on other stuff, as they have already told us as well. The Coalition, Gears E-Day, right? They also have those 2 shelved projects that they put on the back burner until they get E-Day out. Compulsion Games, South of Midnight. Double Fine, multiple projects in the works.
I think 3, right?
They have the capability of doing 3. I don't know exactly how many they're doing, but they have talked about being able to do potentially 3 games before, but they have smaller games and they have like bigger games. So it depends, I think, on what we're gonna
Yeah,
get
after
first.
Psychonauts 2, they said they're going to work on smaller projects for a little bit, and then
Yeah, that was a few years ago now. So we haven't
Yeah.
heard about what the next
Yeah.
game is. I have a feeling one of the projects that we're gonna get announced from them is gonna be one of the bigger ones soon.
I hope so.
Xbox Game Studios Publishing, right? So you got stuff like Flight Sim 2024 that just came out, done with Asobo, right? You have IO Interactive, Project Dragon. You have Contraband with Avalanche. I mean, there's more, right? You could go down a long list of a team like that, with the publishing side bringing in these second party type games. Ara History Untold is another one, right? The Initiative. Well, we have Perfect Dark on the horizon.
Woo.
In Exile, multiple projects, one of them being Clockwork Revolution, which was already announced. Mo Yang is rocking the Minecraft train as always with other projects. They've also released Minecraft Dungeons. And what was the other Minecraft game they did? Was it
Legends.
Legends? Yeah.
When does Minecraft 2 show up? Anybody?
Notch 2 said he's making it, or not Minecraft 2, but
yeah.
He said it's basically Minecraft.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just curious. Like, I know it's kind of like timeless and whatever, but at some point, don't you make something?
At some point,
New?
you think so? Yeah.
I think
You
when
see,
the
I don't know-
scales dip, maybe, but it's never
I don't
dipped.
think you do. It's because Minecraft's become that Fortnite game or the Roblox where you just build games within it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you get more so than a new Minecraft. You get some massive update type thing that's going to kind of overhaul what we've seen kind of do with ray tracing now in Minecraft or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
New feature announcements.
I was just curious because it's just one of those things. I go, do you or don't you? Because really,
I think it's almost risking the game if you do, because like you have
Overwatch 2.
Right. You have like this ever growing install. It's not shrinking or declining. It's still ever growing, right? So it's like they just ride with that.
It's just going to be like it's like World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft's been going for 20 plus years at this point. Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
You get a graphical update every like 10 years, but
yeah, I think they'll keep trying to take advantage of the IP, or maybe eventually they'll make something else and see how it goes too. You know, Ninja Theory. We just got Hellblade 2. Right, and we also know that what's the other one they have that's coming? It's Project Mara.
Is that ever coming out? Because they announced that back in 2019, if you guys remember.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I always thought it would come out after Hellblade.
Yeah,
so maybe. Yeah,
I think it was an early look at kind of like what their next project was going to be once they finished that up.
It probably just became a game, honestly. The tech demo became a game. I'm sure.
Obsidian. Pentiment, we got Grounded, we got Avowed and Outer Worlds coming this year.
That's crazy. Same.
Yep.
2 RPGs from Obsidian in the same year on Xbox.
Wow.
When people said they're the Insomniac of Xbox early on,
it
was like, yeah, pretty much at this point. They made a successful games as a service game with Grounded.
Mm.
They made a little niche indie title that's like a little award-winning, you know, kind of small project from one of the developers there, Josh Sawyer. That was like a little dream game for him. And they managed to still, while doing that, they have 2 massive RPGs releasing this year.
What if they're working on Grounded too?
That would be an interesting one to get a sequel.
Are they still updating Grounded?
Crazy.
No, they stopped updates on Grounded for a reason.
Yeah, maybe the Grounded 2 would launch day and date on the Switch too, as well. You know what I mean?
They're possibly making the Grounded 2. Hey, you know, Mav, like with these games that you're reading off, it makes me think how we already know how stacked 2025 is. 2026 is going to be stacked too, brother.
Dude, Dirt, like what 2 weeks ago on Xbox Ultimate, me and Pong and Fuzzy were sitting here and we were trying to figure out, based on the games that we know like are a year or 2 away, like what's the legitimate ones for 2025 or 2026 for the unannounced 2025 games, and what's 2026, because you know games like Perfect Dark, you know, Clockwork Revolution, you know, things like that. We started piling it on like Gears E Day. If it doesn't hit 2025, it's going to be 2026 probably, right? So we started going down this list, and we came to this realization after I was writing all these games down, is like, holy shit. Either it's not only if we add these games, decide not to put them on 2025, right? Because we're putting them on 2026. 2026 is going to be possibly even more loaded than 2025 is with big games.
Yeah. I mean, I think this was Phil Spencer's plan. Like when he first started acquiring all the studios, is like one game a quarter, one big game a quarter. Yep. Like now, like there's no end in sight to that.
Hey, yo, Jasper, I remember when Matt Booty said that publicly. Our goal is for one game a quarter. Matt Booty and Phil Spencer, I believe they both said. Yeah. And people laughed at him. Like, yeah, right. Because at that time, Xbox, it was dry, right?
Yeah.
At that time, it was dry.
Especially Pentiment era.
Dark time.
Yeah, for that time, right? Yep. I mean, like, they were obviously cooking, but it was dry. And people was like, oh, yeah, right. That reality is here. It's this year.
It was last year.
Right. Really, it was last year. But
well, they had that dam too, Dirt, where they had the problems. They didn't get everything released. Everything was set back, and now they got this backlog of games already at the same time. And it's just
avalanche of games, Pong.
Yeah, it's that avalanche of games that we talked about 3 years ago, brother. It's that avalanche.
WBG 3 years ago said they're going to have an avalanche of games.
And once it started, it doesn't stop. And now they're hitting Dirt. And now they're hitting on all cylinders. All the studios are up and running. This is what we talked about. This is why the dreams of what could have been had they go toe-to-toe, 1-for-1 with exclusive of Sony still. I want to see that alternate universe where they do it, man, because this is what we talked about. This would have been the stack 100 that nobody could compete with. No,
damn, Pong. Just imagine if these games will have stayed exclusive. Damn, you just.
Bro.
There would be a lot more consoles.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And it's also like, not only do they have an avalanche of games coming out per year, but it's also they get to plan on their console as well. Like, which games do they start to premiere with their new console? Like, maybe there's a secret game no one knows about. They're like, oh, this will actually go perfect. When is that in development? Oh, it's almost done. Okay, let's show that with our new console. There's a lot they can do, obviously.
A quick question on the new console too. While I got you guys here too, right? Because I like to hear this stuff. I'm starting to think about this. Like this, it brought it back up again when you were talking about E-Day and more people. You know, a lot of people think it could launch this year, and I'm like, because we've talked about this. Like, if you think about the traditional launch of a new system, you always wanted that massive lineup of games to show off. But we know in a lot, and we talked about it here. Like, we've speculated. I started saying this like 2 years ago when we started speculating, when I first started bringing up that I thought they could do the 2026 launch and get out ahead. Because again, all bets are off, all the gloves are off, nothing matters anymore. They can do what they want to at this point. So you usually want that big lineup. But if we think all the rumors are true, and this is going to be the hybrid system, and it is going to basically just carry your entire library forward, it's going to be even closer to blurring the lines between PC and home console. Well, then any game that launches, it doesn't matter when it launches. When that new console comes out, it isn't going to be basically like a piece, like you just upgraded your GPU and your CPU, and that game that you just got in 2025 is all of a sudden going to be X amount better. Like graphically, they're going to be able to tune and turn up the graphics, and you're going to be able to do all the stuff that we see, like Cyberpunk on Xbox One versus Cyberpunk on Series X, right? Or Cyberpunk on Xbox Series X versus a 4090, right? With all the ray tracing bells and whistles. Isn't that basically where we're headed for? So it really doesn't matter when games launch, because if anybody buys it, and it's going to be the enthusiast box, I think we all believe that this isn't going to be the mass market console unless everybody decides they need it in their living room, which I still think there's a chance that a lot more people do. But then all of a sudden you just open up your library, and all of a sudden you go into the Gears E-Day, turn it on, and it's like, oh shit. Here we go. Wow, this is crazy.
I 100% agree. I was talking on my podcast about this when, like, if the next Xbox dropping next year is true, which that's what we all have heard, it's going to be cool for us, the enthusiasts. I don't think it's not going to hit the same as the previous generations in the past, right? When we went from the original Xbox to the 360, the 360 to the Xbox One, there's not going to be exclusive games for that console. is going to be exactly what you're saying. It's
Right.
going to be
Because back then a new console was a new starting point at you, like a new
Absolutely.
generation, and now everything's just
It had
carried
all
over.
brand
So
new
yeah.
hardware that was typically way different
Yep.
than the previous gen's hardware, right?
Yep.
It
And
was completely new. Yeah.
100%. And so it's not going to. And I will tell you this: Xbox getting out ahead of PlayStation is cool, but I don't think personally it's going to really move the needle as it would have if this was, previous generations.
Yeah.
Because the PlayStation, bro, people are still playing on the PS4 and
Correct.
Yeah, the only reason people upgrade to next generation is for Madden or NBA or Call of
GTA
Duty.
6 is
Whenever
gonna be
there's
the-
GTA 6.
Yeah,
It's
GTA
gonna be
6
the
is
one.
where
Because
That's the unicorn.
we saw what college football did for that month.
Correct.
It sold a lot of PlayStations. They even sold a lot of
It was the
Xbox.
number one selling game last year too, and it was a
Absolutely.
next gen only game.
Because it was a next gen only game. So next year, GTA 6 or this year, whenever the game comes out, it is going to sell consoles.
Yes.
But moving forward, there's not going to be many games. Now there's going to be a point where they cut off PS4 and Xbox One, but the PS5 and the Xbox Series, those games are going to be relevant for years to come. So I just don't see the new Xbox or even the PS6, 2028. I don't know.
Let me throw this at you, Dirt, real quick. Let me throw it on that point, though, about GTA 6. If it is 2026, and we've talked about this here, advantage goes to Xbox. If they have the handheld, if they have the handheld ready and they have the next gen box, now not everybody's agreement on that, but either one, just take either one. Let's just say the box is ready. Dirt, if it comes out and it is what the rumors are that it's this hybrid, that your Steam library is available, but also that it is the most powerful console at that point, and GTA 6 will then all of a sudden be the best version on the Xbox console. And
if it's a handheld, it's the only place you can play it.
GTA on the go.
That was Mav's point. That would be the only. Well, Switch 2, you can guarantee your house is going to fit GTA 6 on Switch 2, no matter what. But yes,
I don't know.
But
I don't think so.
I know. I think they're going to do it anyways. They're going to try whatever they have to.
Play it at 10 frames per second, and it looks like shit. But you get it on your Switch too.
Has a GTA ever been on a Nintendo? I don't think so.
It was
San Andreas or whatever.
One of the handheld ones, one of the DS ones. There was a.
But I just think there's a unique opportunity there. To your point, yes, I think it's going to be the enthusiast box. But all these people with all this pent up, all the way back to last generation, they've been sitting on this for a long time. Basically skip this entire generation potentially, right? With Xbox, yes, plenty of them will convert to PS5 and PS5 Pro. That there's no doubt about that. But I think it's a unique opportunity for Xbox to actually come out with something so compelling, Dirt, giving people so many different options and being probably the most powerful hardware at that time, that it might sway people to actually go to Xbox, as far as the console, if they don't have any interest in the first-party titles from Sony, right? Again, we're talking about the masses. We're talking about the casuals out there as well, that if they're going to make that leap, and they're going to be sitting there looking at probably still a $600 PS5 Pro, even if Xbox comes in at $700-800, but it's like even that much better, but their GTA 6, the holy grail, the unicorn of gaming, is that much better on it. There's potential, man. I'm just saying.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I agree with some of the things you're saying, but personally, I think that GTA 6 will be bought by a lot of casuals.
Yep.
Right. Correct. If those casuals are still on PS4, Xbox Ones.
Yeah, the cheap ones are still going to go. Yes.
I still think some of those people will just get a PS5 Slim. Some might get Xbox Series S's. Now, just my opinion, because I was talking to I wasn't talking. I was listening to Gaming Forte. He was talking about how many Xbox Series S's he sold personally when college football came out. Right? He said there was a guy that wanted a Series X. Forte said he didn't have a. No, I'm sorry. He wanted a Series S. Forte said he didn't have any more Series S's. And the guy said, damn. He's like, well, we got a Series X. The guy was like, nah, I want the S. Right? He's like, I want the Series S. I forgot what show Forte said it, though. He's like, nah, I want the Series S, man. But my point is, I somewhat agree with you, but I think sometimes when it comes to these casuals, man, they don't give a damn. Like my
I agree
father,
with you.
bro.
I
I always
agree.
talk about my father. He's a casual. He plays 2 games a year, Madden and MLB The Show. I buy the games for him, right? He was still playing on the PS4. He was content playing on the PS4. I said, Pops, let me get you this Xbox Series S. I had the Xbox Series S. I had upgraded to the black 1 terabyte one just for my family room. And I gave him my original Xbox Series S. He's all cool. He could give a shit about that Xbox. He didn't care. You know, he's an old man, but he still loves his 2 sports games per year. But I know there's a lot of casuals, that's their
mindset.
mindset.
But
Their
I also
mindset.
think that's why, even in the future, like PlayStation's going to have even a harder time moving. As hard as it is for them to get people to go from PS4 to PS5, think about how much harder it will be to get people to go to PS5 to PS6.
Yeah.
Because
I
they're going to be
agree.
celebrating. I mean, they're going to be sustaining this PS5 catalog and releasing games on that for a lot longer, even than they did the PS4, which is still a thing that is happening. So at some point, the whole library and moving along with your library thing becomes less important because you're just going to keep the old system for your library. And for the new stuff, you're going to just want the best experience and the best availability that you can get. And when there's different kinds of hardware out there, to your point, Pong, there's different kinds of hardware that are offering you different options than you ever had before. You can say,
Mhm.
well, I still got that. It's still gonna keep being supported. I still got my library, I still got my catalog. I'm gonna go get this other thing for the new games, right?
Yeah.
Because it's gonna play them better than the PS6 will, and I also get more options for playing
Yeah,
other games, right?
I don't know. I just like people will play Call of Duty till the day it's like done on that system. Like people just don't move over. That's my point. Is like people are like Black Ops 6 and Warzone. Like people are playing that. It's running like 40 frames on the Xbox
Bro,
One. People are like
yep,
I don't
and
give a fuck.
they still playing it, right?
Did
But
Rockstar
that's why the new hardware is for the enthusiasts, though, right?
Yeah.
did
Like,
Rockstar announce that they were supporting the older consoles?
No.
fuck,
They
no.
So
they said
that's
they're next gen only.
that's
Yeah.
where Xbox and Sony has a chance to market. That's why the whole industry is waiting for Rockstar because
gonna
it
sell
could change a
consoles,
lot.
It's gonna
Yeah,
sell consoles.
it's going to sell consoles. I would not release a game months from GTA's
I
release.
agree, bro.
Had GTA 6 come out, let's say 2021, current gen only, and moved more of that crowd, we wouldn't be seeing Call of Duty on previous gen. We wouldn't be seeing
I
Madden
agree.
on
You know what?
previous gen.
I
We wouldn't be
agree
seeing-
with that.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. Call of Duty would be
Yes.
current gen
gen
also.
only.
I agree
Yep.
with that. Hey, can I say something to Amit Kumar in the chat? He said your dad is a pony dirt. No, he's not a pony. The reason I bought him a PS4 because he loves baseball. And at the time, MLB The Show was exclusive.
Yeah.
Then, of course, a few years later, it was on Xbox. So I said, hey, Dad.
Yeah, to use Game Pass
Not
on my
open.
family share so I can stop having to buy you that damn game every year. Is what,
Yeah.
what Dirt's thinking.
But then, but let me tell you something, Mav. I got Game Pass, right? Then I thought about it. I said, shit. It'll be cheaper for me just to buy him the game because it's the only game you play in Game Pass, right? It'll be cheaper for me to buy him the game. But yeah. So no, my dad is not a pony. He don't care about content. He just want to play his baseball game. He loves
Your dad's
MLB.
not on a PlayStation podcast shit talking Xbox every week.
No.
Saying, hey, man, this MLB The Show this year is fire.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
That's good to know. Shout out to Jay Rimbert, member for 4 months. Says, shout out to this great panel. Shout out to the great chat. And you also, Jay Rimbert. Appreciate you. JD Gamer hit us with the $5 super chat. Says, imagine if Xbox Prime launches with E-Day, Forza, Halo, COD, and Fable. State of Decay and Elder Scrolls 6 trailer all-timed exclusive, showcasing the power of Prime. I get you there, except Fable's this year. So
yeah, Fable's this year. Bro.
Yeah, I mean, it'll miss the boat on that, but maybe an expansion would be ready for like a big Fable like expansion or something like that. That would make sense. And then JD Gamer with a $2 super chat says, by the way, pathetic port begging ponies still got no games.
Shout out JD Gamer. Hey man, you know what's crazy? 2027 is gonna be solid. There's a rumor to
pick
do
a
Halo
fucking year,
game.
Dirt. Pick a
Blade.
year.
I mean, bro.
Pick a year. 2028 is going to be fucking incredible.
2028 is gonna be fire.
2040 is going to be fucking fire on Xbox. I don't care. Pick a damn year. It doesn't matter. I'll be
It
60
doesn't
years
matter,
old
bro.
being like, holy shit, they got more.
They
first-party
have
games than they
so
ever had
many
before.
studios,
They're
Dirt.
gonna constantly, like
rolls.
you said, Pong. They constantly.
Yep.
If you wait like 2 years from now, the teams that dropped games last year will be ready to show their next game. You know,
Correct.
So, yeah.
It just keeps
Constant
going at this point.
Yep.
They leapfrog each other. It's continued. They have so many studios, and we have stuff that we don't even know about yet. We have studios that are being formed right now that we don't know about yet. We have rumors of Activision Blizzard working on games. We have all this stuff, and it just continues. That's what we always talked about, is that once they did all these acquisitions, man, that's what they get to the point where they insulate themselves from the rest of the industry. So no matter what happens out there, if they want to keep making games, they can make any type of game and as many games as they need to support them on their own. They don't need third parties in that way if they ever want to go that route. Like, they are their own game. They're the world's, I think right now, I'd have to go look at the numbers, but I think that they are probably, in terms of content, the world's biggest publisher at this point. They really are.
Them or Tencent.
Right,
They're
exactly.
at the top.
And I would have to go look at that, but they would be. They've got to be almost there.
But you don't even know what games does Tencent make. You'd have to go look it up on a.
You have to go look.
Yeah. But we know what games that's.
Yeah, exactly.
And they have got portions of so many things. Like, how do you count that? Really? I mean, again, Xbox is all purely owned by Microsoft. Like, that's it. Like, it's all in house. So yeah, it's a wild time.
Every article is like Xbox is dying, like all this stuff. It happens every single couple weeks or after any big Xbox announcement. There's another thing. Xbox is dead. Xbox will die of old age. It'll die of natural causes. Like, we will all be fucking. You talk about graybeards. We'll all look like fucking Gandalf by the time Xbox is.
Well, I mean, the history, right? the story, the story of Phil saving Xbox and how they almost killed it off then got so old that they had to bring it forward and say 2021 was another year that they tried to kill it off. So, they had to start over, right? So they got a new story to carry forward now.
Yeah.
And Pong, so 2021, that's the year after they say they were buying Bethesda too. So it's kind of funny. They were going to kill it off after they said
man, Dirt, they were in fucking record profits that year. That was during COVID. Every game publisher was up like 200 fucking %. Everybody was like, you couldn't even buy a console. They were all sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
They were saying,
and then the next year they just dropped 70 billion on Activision.
Right. They're saying, we're thinking about closing shop here while we're having fucking record profits, record Game Pass growth, record everything. We just launched a brand new piece of kit, brand new hardware. We can't keep it on the shelves. We can't get enough out there to the consumers. We're going to go ahead and shut up shop now. Yeah, that's horseshit. Oh, by the way, we changed our mind. Let's go spend $7.5 billion on ZeniMax Bethesda. I just gotta say, timeline. Maybe his memory is incorrect, and he's thinking back to the 2016 talk, right, with Terry Myerson.
Didn't they base it off of hedge fund managers or something?
No. So Brand was talking about this with Jez today on his show, and basically it was based on nothing. It's really based on just kind of hearsay or whatever.
Based on feels.
Yeah, and also the other article that came out about the Marvel Rivals money made on Xbox. Rand picked that apart today on Xbox too as well. I got to give him credit for that because they were using some crazy
I did that on
circumstantial stuff.
I did that on Living Split Screen last weekend, bro. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't want to pay to read the fucking article, so you don't get any context in there. But yeah, they're reasoning for Xbox getting $2.7 million.
I mean, also if you read the article where they're that guy was I think games should be $80 to $100 now. If you read that, there was some stupid shit in there too. It's
but they because there's no real numbers, so then they just admitted that they used PUBG and other games to estimate the numbers. I was what is this bullshit? You could use anything and just throw out numbers. Come on, man. It doesn't
negative Xbox content sales.
But like I said, if it is true that all that shit about 2021 was just off of basically nothing, then that's what I was just saying. Like they just bringing the story forward because the other one has gotten so old and outplayed. They got to bring it forward so they can continue to talk about it. Because now going forward, no matter what Xbox does, even when they launch the next gen, the people are going to be like, "Oh, but 2021, man, look at how close they were to death. Things aren't good over there, man. Things haven't been good forever."
And people ran with it also, Paul.
Oh, yeah.
People's
Oh,
like, "Oh man, look, Xbox is dead."
Yeah, it was probably based on nib. I mean, that's really that's what it was based on. Like this financial guy's like, oh my god, I saw this really well thought out, long drawn out conversation piece put out by this guy who seems like he's really knowledgeable about the industry, breaking down charts, and he wrote a thesis here. I'm just gonna look at all the work he did for me. I'm just gonna run with this here on my. Paul Tassie's like, yeah, let's go. I'm gonna even quote tweet this guy. Like, yeah, okay, like
No, go ahead.
it's just you see the kind of stuff goes on, the kind of people that get the traction or conversations and stuff, but you actually see what the same people that claim they're not console warriors or claim that they're not fanboys or whatever consistently act the same way every time there's any kind of thing about Xbox that they could even possibly want to latch onto. And then we have PlayStation with 2 canceled games again after 6 from the previous years. More studio closures happened last year. They barely got any coverage, right? Instead, everybody was still talking about Microsoft layoffs, right? We had 2 crazy reports come out that got in this month already that got a lot of traction that were really based on bogus information. While this is happening at PlayStation, and none of those major people are writing about that. Instead, they're still arguing about how they were right about the Xbox article.
Yep.
And also, no one mentions how PSVR is just like dead, and they never talk about it.
Shuhei,
next topic.
yeah.
Great point, Jasper. That's trash.
Shuhei on the Greg Miller's interview even was like, let's not talk about that.
Yeah. Let's move on. That's his exact.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
A common thing I see a lot of Sony fans say is, oh yeah, the Activision Blizzard thing, that doesn't count. Whenever it's something positive financially, they say like, oh yeah, Xbox, because they acquired them at this date, this game doesn't count, even if it does well in the top 10, top 20. I see that constantly, and I'm like, there's no rules or stipulations for when something counts. Who owns the company? Who's benefiting?
Does the first Spider-Man not count then? Right?
Oh no. Yeah. Like tell me counts, but like three.
That doesn't count.
Microsoft made this much money, then they were separated. Now without Activision Blizzard,
yep,
they own them, bro. Like they own them. But I would say this: I remember when Modern Warfare 3 came out, they just finalized the Activision Blizzard deal. When Modern Warfare 3 came out to those abysmal reviews, I saw guys blame Microsoft for it. Said this is Xbox.
It counted then.
Yeah, they count it when it's negative, but if it's positive, oh no, what they Bro, I'm telling you, 3 years from now, you're still going to see that. Well, how much did they make without Activision Blizzard? Watch what I tell you. 3 years from now, you're going to see the same thing. Watch.
Yeah, it's crazy to see. Anyway, I want to get back to a couple of these studios. We didn't finish. There's still more. We went through Obsidian, had those like, we did Grounded, we did Pentiment, and they also had Outer Worlds 2 this year and Avowed this year. Playground Games, right? Forza Horizon 5, massive success this generation. Plus, also we have Fable launching this year, right? Rare has Sea of Thieves still going as a successful games of service game, but we also have Everwild, which they actually fucking finally teased again this year on New Year's.
Yeah.
We got them releasing something. I have a feeling we're going to see more of it this year because of that. Potentially. That's one of the games, Dirt, that we were trying to guess 2025, 2026. It's been so long, and that little New Year's tease for Everwild was like, and that's kind of a game you can kind of launch anywhere. You don't really got to worry about your other big first-party titles because it's going to be a games of service kind of thing anyway.
Yeah.
So, and that's also something that might fit on the Switch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, absolutely. And
You know?
I guess that we will find out this year what the hell this game is going to be about.
Yeah. And we'll find out, I think, if it's going to be this year or next. But I don't think it'll be 2027. So then we got Turn 10, Forza Motorsport, still doing crazy big updates for that. Undead Labs got State of Decay 3 cooking. Then we
That
get
was rumored for this year and just got a slight
yeah.
pushback.
So that was another one
I
we were
forgot
trying to,
about State of
so
Decay.
that's probably a 2026 game.
But like, don't forget, they said that could have been a 2025 game
Exactly.
because it's very far along. It's damn near done, but they said it's going to push it to 2026.
So this was part of the dilemma we were having with the 2025, 2026 stuff. They're like 2026 was getting crazy.
Don't forget, Forza Horizon 6 will probably be 2026. I don't know if you said that or not, but
we talked about it on that other show. Yeah, for sure. Bethesda Game Studios. Well, we got a little game coming around the horizon called Elder Scrolls 6. That'll probably be out in 2027, I'm imagining. Possibly, if they actually stuck to their original timeline and were 3 years after Starfield, which was part of their original plans, what we saw with the leaks, right? Then it would be 2026. However, I think because of the acquisition, they get like extra time and stuff, so possibly 2027, unless they're pushing them to be a next-gen launch title. So we'll see on that.
I think we're a year behind we're like a year behind on that original leak because I think Doom.
We are
was supposed to come out. Yeah,
I accounted for that because Starfield came out like 18 months after, right? So everything fell in order still, like as far as what the release cadence was. It was Starfield, and then the next year it was expansion, and then Doom the Dark Age. Doom's Year Zero is what it was on the leak.
Yeah.
And then next year was Starfield Expansion 2, which we
and
think is
I think the Oblivion was
the Oblivion remake was on
between
that list.
Doom. Yeah.
And then the following year, it was 3 years after Starfield's launch, was Elder Scrolls 6.
And it mentioned the Marvel thing. Yeah.
And there was a Fallout 3.
In between there, actually one of the games in between there was ZeniMax Online's game, which was Project Kestrel, maybe?
It's Platinum or Kestrel, yeah.
One of those two.
Yeah.
So not only do we have those other ones we talked about, but the next studio is ZeniMax Online, which we have Elder Scrolls Online still cooking. They did a big update last year. But they are set to announce possibly this year their next big MMO IP, which is possibly this year or next.
Crazy, bro.
There's so many.
It's fucking crazy.
So many
That ain't gonna be 2027, I don't think. Like that's just been in development since before they were acquired.
It's insane.
We got id, Doom, Dark Ages this year. Then we got our part of Arcane still exists, right? Arcane Leon, right? So the last game they did was
they're doing Blade. Yeah,
they're doing Blade. Yeah.
Blade.
Oh yeah.
We got Machine Games just launched what to many outlets is the game of the year. So this is another thing. Whenever I said on Twitter, I said PlayStation sucks this year, this generation, like really sucks.
I saw that. I like that shit. Yeah, I like
it. I was like, it was a little dirt moment I had there. Just like I was feeling it at that time. I was like, fuck that, like, God, they really suck this gen. So I just said it. I said it with my heart.
I was about to retweet it, but
he should. No, anyway, like I just said, PlayStation sucks this gen. It really sucks, right? But like a lot of people's like Astrobot. But like how many Game of the Year awards is actually Indiana Jones receiving that aren't the Keeleys?
A lot.
And is you know why? Because it can count because of the fucking timeline of when the awards can get tabulated and voted on, right? So you're seeing it win multiple accolades and numerous nominations across the industry from numerous publications as well. So Machine Games just released Indiana Jones. They're probably either going to go full force into Indiana Jones in the future, or they're going to be doing more Wolfenstein. Or we'll see.
Well, they spun.
They have a DLC for.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, Fuzzy. They actually expand, like, didn't they separate, like, they added some more employees. They have more people.
Oh, you mean they grew their studios to help make more stuff?
Yeah.
Is that something PlayStation can't do?
That's crazy, right?
So when Naughty Dog complained that they can't do factions because they can't handle it all, like their answer that PlayStation didn't come up with was like, well, let's help them. Let's get another studio to help do it, and let's let Naughty Dog.
They didn't think
that
about
wasn't the answer.
They forgot.
He said they forgot.
Anyway, so that's all those studios, right? That's not even accounting for anything from Activision Blizzard.
That's crazy, bro. Insanity, bro.
It's weird to even have people like realistically line up PlayStation games and be like, we're cooking, we have so much coming. And you're like, okay, what? And then you put Xbox's roadmap versus Sony's non-existent roadmap. It's
what they're doing.
insane.
3-bit, you know what they're doing right now. I was promoting my latest video today, and I got a bunch of comments from the PlayStation guys with a chart showing the 4 PlayStation first-party games, announced, and I saw the Nintendo games, and for the Xbox they had multi-plat. That's all they have right now. That's it. Multi-plat. So I said, listen, man, y'all need to focus on what PlayStation is doing and why they're not giving you guys games. You guys relying on Xbox games says a lot right now. And that's what's their defense, multi-plat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, keep funding our fucking games, man. Let's go. I'm happy. Like I've been on this thing. Like I understand business wise, like as far as selling hardware for Xbox, I think it's not a great move for that spot.
Yeah.
But if you focus on the games and the developers and the publishing side for bringing in money to help make more games, all these games are going to have more sales.
It's literally in Microsoft names. They're a software company.
Right. It's interesting. Beheem Scott says Astrobot is a great game. So yeah, no, I didn't say it wasn't. I'm just saying everybody's answer to like why PlayStation is so great is Astrobot. It's just like it sold like 2 million copies out of all the millions of owners of PlayStations. So it's not like that's the reason
Mario Sunshine
that people play on PlayStation, right? And as if you count for awards because it won a Keeley Award, well, you're talking about numerous other award shows that are actually more meaningful to the developers themselves that are actually just completely discounted. Then he said one more thing.
They want to be a live service.
Oh
studio.
yeah. So yeah, he said though they actually said they don't want to be a live service studio, right? Because they didn't have it's like they weren't expanded beyond what they were to be able to do that as well, right? Like Halo has certain affinity, like has always had certain affinity to help with the multiplayer stuff, right? They have other studios that come in to do other things for them, support studios or studios that help or expertise is at different things to help do create something bigger and grow it. Expand the studio, split off a second team that runs the multiplayer side and grow that. You don't have to say, well, hey, all of you guys that are just great at making single player games, you're just going to transition into a multiplayer studio now. You don't have to do it that way. But the point is that PlayStation couldn't afford to do it the other way. So they're in a dilemma. So their answer was to cancel the game.
Yep. Or set up like they've made just weird calls in my opinion, like investing so much in the Unreal Engine, right? For example, and none of their games use the Unreal Engine. It's just like things like that just makes you question on what is happening behind the scenes in terms of development. Like their live service games that was canceled, it makes sense to me why they did that, because a lot of their studios aren't currently built to have any live service games. So that reoccurring revenue that those investors want, they're not getting, because a lot of their games right now are single player games. And a lot of what they're currently investing in is their first party games, of course, and then they are making those huge deals for third party. So it's like a temporary solution, just putting a band-aid on what their problem is, which is they are looking at what is the top selling games on their own store, and they're all live service games. It's they're
mean,
seeing that,
also,
and that's a problem. Yeah.
it's the same point. Like the studios that were set up, like Bungie or Insomniac. I think Insomniac could have done a live service game and been all right too. But the studios that were set up for that, they've cut half the staff, and now it's like, well, we can't do anything. I think at
Well,
the end of the day, Sony was afraid to put their money and like risk it. Like they just
yeah, that's what Fuzzy was saying earlier. Like when you have Xbox and they release something like Sea of Thieves, when Sea of Thieves came out, look at the reviews. You can see the reviews on Metacritic where PlayStation has better reviews of Sea of Thieves than Xbox because they refuse to go back and re-review a online game for whatever. They pick and choose when that happens, right? But they worked on that game to what it is today, and people love it now. Sony, if they get an inkling that something is not going to be successful, they've been known to punish developer or reviewers for not reviewing the game to their standard. They would blackball people.
Yeah.
They have things inside of their studio where if the game doesn't make a certain Metacritic, you don't get your bonuses for the year. So it's a lot more important to Sony to their appearance on things. So if they feel like their live service game, their online game is not going to be successful, instead of just like over time making it successful, they just pull the plug. They don't want to risk it. But the bad thing about live service games, a lot of live service games start off kind of small and they build up over time, which is not really fitting of Sony's current philosophy, which is like that premium experience that a lot of people are saying, like, Sony is premium, Xbox is rental box, it's rent box. It's insane. It's absolutely
I mean,
insane.
you could just look at like Fortnite, for example. Like when that came out, it was Save the World, and the game was fucking dog shit. Everyone hated it, and then it transitioned. It's the biggest IP out there in like games now. Like, imagine if Epic canceled that, Epic would probably be closed down by now. Like,
Yeah. And Fahim, I'm not saying it's easy, right? But they made the call to do 12 live service games because of what their current strategy is.
We were
Which
saying
again
it
is
was mismanagement. They if they couldn't do it, they shouldn't have fucking done 12 of them at the same damn time.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, they admitted to one of the reasons why they wanted to buy Bungie was their lack of experience in the multiplayer space. That they said that outright. So it's their what they have currently and where they need to go. There's a gap there. They're just putting band-aids on problems, and we're seeing the result of that essentially.
How much money do you think this sway? And I think somebody had added up the years of development spent. It was like 30 years across all the studios and games. But how much money? Like Concord alone cost over 400 million.
Yeah, you're over $1 billion. You're $1 billion.
I would say you're probably like close to 5-6 billion after this decision.
Damn.
Just canceling all of these games of service years.
Because you have to transition your entire library or your entire future portfolio at this point.
Oh, yeah, no. If you're gonna count in all the, I'm just straight of
well, you have to count the money
on
they
that.
would have lost if they had done something different in that time span too.
But that's always hard to project.
Yeah,
right?
but
yeah,
it counts
you're
for something.
talking billions. You're talking billions. Yes, for sure.
Yep.
Because these studios that would have had a project coming out maybe next year or this year, right?
But again, look at the profits. Look at the console sales. Everything's fine. More money than ever. More money.
You're making $20 off of each console. Yeah.
Well, one thing is, Pong, they never point to the profits; they point to the revenue.
Yeah, but I've seen the record profits coming around again too. That they're making more profits than ever, which is fine. It's great, but that doesn't excuse this, and it doesn't make this any better at all. Like it doesn't, from a gamer standpoint, from a business standpoint. Who, yes, you are definitely in the hardware space, but to support that hardware, you're supposed to put out software, and now you have a whole lot of teams way behind in software creation because you just wiped out years of work. Like that doesn't go away just because look at
100%.
the console sale. It
Yeah.
just doesn't.
I
It's bad.
gotta read this comment real quick. That was actually on Twitter. Somebody had said this too, because talking about how PlayStation has been mismanaged and all those other kind of things. They said Xbox is just a third party PlayStation developer for 99.9% of gamers now. Xbox going to take orders from PlayStation now. They can't afford Sony to ban them from the PlayStation digital. Bro, I think you have that completely fucking twisted around in your mind on how that shit works. You actually think PlayStation will go and ban Call of Duty and Minecraft and Overwatch 2, and what's the fourth one that's usually in the top 15 on the most played on the played list every single week on PlayStation? You say PlayStation's like, we're taking a stand. We're not going to have any
Used to be
Microsoft
Overwatch.
properties on our fucking system now. You think that's going to work out for PlayStation? You think that puts my Xbox in a box? What if Xbox in the future is like, hey, we want to use that leverage for the fact that all of our games are so popular over there, making them all this money too? How do we
this
use that?
headspace from back in the day, man? Dude's still in this headspace where everybody thinks that like this is like nuclear warfare literally between these companies. Like these companies, sure, is there an amount of competition? Absolutely. Is there an amount of even personal hate between some of the companies? Absolutely. Of course there is. All these companies are in bed with each other for a reason. Microsoft saved Apple back in the day for a freaking reason, okay? This is big freaking business. These companies at the end of the day do not make decisions like, oh, Microsoft, you need us more than we need you. So good luck with selling Call of Duty anywhere else. That shit ain't coming over here. Are you fucking nuts? That shit ain't gonna happen. All right. They need each other. It is one big corporate fuckfest between these companies. Okay. They aren't giving up any of that shit, okay? Because that is money at the end of the day.
100%.
And again, last time I looked, Sony does not have the electronics division that they once had that carried everything when stuff started falling apart. That is not them anymore. It is now PlayStation, then movies and TV, and then electronics.
Cars.
That's where they're at. Yep. Exactly. And then cars and insurance. But the fact is their share price is I've seen drop under $20 a share, whatever the case may be. They aren't giving up any funds, folks. This is corporal. This is all big business now. My God, this mentality that we're in actual literal wars between these corporations.
Yeah, they're gonna
this isn't cyberpunk. Okay? They're not calling hits on Phil. Okay. That's not happening. All right. They're not taking Satya out so that Microsoft collapses. It's just not happening.
Shout out to Angry Hippie who just with a $2 super chat earlier says, Shu pulled a Drew Rosenhaus. Next question. That's classic Drew Rosenhaus there. J Mac hit us with a $10 super generous super chat. Appreciate you, J Mac. Says that last year the narrative was Xbox has no games that traumatized Xbox, and now we're seeing the results. At the end of the day, you have to think PlayStation fanboys. Hashtag Graybeards in the building. Appreciate you, J Mac. Angry Hippie member for 6 months says EA. Oh God. EA.
Gotta read it.
EAGLES. Eagles.
What does that spell?
It spells Eagles.
What?
Oh, Eagles.
Eagles. Thanks, Angry Hippie. Appreciate you. And J Mac with a 5 says, with all of the missteps and mismanagement, Sony is begging to be held accountable. The media and the fanboys just can't do it. It's XWO is real. Hashtag Graybeards. Absolutely, man.
Hey, man, shout out to J Mac. Shout out to you, homie.
Yeah, J Mac's awesome. Well, I mean, if you count ABK and everything that they got coming as well, I mean, it's just I don't even know what to expect from ABK.
They could have separate E3s.
I mean,
like talked about this, yeah.
Infinity Wars
could be E3 all in themselves.
Infinity Wars got another studio that they opened in Poland, right? That they're doing some other kind of game. You have them being the main studio for next year's Call of Duty. Then you have
Well, I think
Halo.
it's actually Sledgehammer again because it's going to be a Black Ops 2 remake, kind of
Yeah,
similar
That's
to.
this year's. That's
Halo.
this year's. I'm talking about next
Yeah. Oh,
year's.
that's okay.
Yeah, next year's
Okay.
is Infinity Ward. This year's is Sledgehammer. And
But I thought I heard that Sledgehammer's also doing something like Halo related on the side, like for years. I don't know if you guys
that was a
heard
rumor, yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that rumor.
Yeah.
That'd
So
be sick.
there's multiple Halo projects in the works too. So and they said I think they mentioned that they're working with other studios as well. So we just don't know exactly who that is. One of them
Yeah.
could be the Sledgehammer. Then we have
Ooh.
Tony Hawk himself last year that said there's more Tony Hawk stuff coming, right? So be on the lookout for more Tony Hawk games at some point. We didn't even mention another partnered game, which is Toys for Bob game, which we already know about from that side.
Yep.
People Can Fly also has supposedly a $50 million project that they're working on, a smaller.
I mean, they have also invested a bunch of money in Embracer for like Tomb Raider and stuff,
Microsoft has?
haven't they? Didn't they give a bunch of money to Embracer?
No, they hired the teams from Embracer.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's what.
yeah.
Yeah.
You got the peeps.
Yeah,
I
they
was thinking, I
got
haven't heard that.
they got Crystal Dynamics to help with Perfect Dark.
And they got
Wait,
Eidos Montreal to
hold
help with
on
Fable.
though. I mean, Jasper is in an undisclosed location in Colorado that has some
Breaking news.
capabilities. He might have been in somebody's system and found out
Yeah.
some shit. So Jasper, go ahead. What did you think?
He might know some stuff we don't know.
Yeah,
Huh?
I can't talk about it.
Yeah, I can't talk about
That's
it.
fine.
Just
He's
move
like, oh,
on,
that
right?
wasn't
You'll
announced
see.
publicly. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Jasper's over
I
the
accidentally picked that up.
systems for game news.
Jasper's supposed to be working and listening to actual really important defense stuff, and he's sitting there with like, can I pick up on any like gaming secrets right now? Where's the houses of all these?
Where's the Bethesda
executives?
studio?
Yeah. Let's get Phil Spencer's like PC. Can we lock into that real quick? I want to play around in those files for a little bit. Shout out to Brett Bingham with $2 super chat. Says Jim Ryan, PlayStation will not survive without COD. He did say that at one point.
Yeah, say that.
Yep.
And then also they said,
Oh, attention, ladies and gentlemen. I got this one,
shit.
Mav. Attention,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen. We got to do this. This is in the Lotus. A spree coming on through with the 20 bomb. He just flew overhead, dropped off a couple bags of coal. We got 4 new cars added to the speculators hype train tonight. Let's go, everybody. Listen up. We are now at a nice, easy cruising speed of a Mach 5.0, thanks to the generosity of the one and only Lotus Esprit. So I need you all to buckle up. Those 4-point harnesses better be on tight because we don't want to lose any out those windows, even some body parts flying out those windows at these kind of speeds. So choo-choo, motherfuckers, because Lotus Esprit got on the court with the free throw dunk, the 20 bomb. Thank you, Lotus. Appreciate you so much tonight, brother. Oh, don't forget, keeping us hashtag no beans, keeping us ad free in 2025. Your goal for this month is now with bonus credits 6,826. You are almost there. I can taste it. Don't make us work any harder around here, folks. I don't want to get a second job, so please contribute. Thank you.
you got to fund your new PC.
There you go. Oh, it's going. It's going
Wait,
again.
did you get AEC founder?
Oh, God, look at everybody. We've started something. We love this around here. Again, hashtag no beans, ad-free 2025 coming through. We are lowering the goal as we speak and making sure that Mav and I and the rest of the panel don't have to go get those second jobs to keep this going. AEC founder, Mr. Click. What is going on, Mr. Click? He came rolling on through with the single bomb. We don't discriminate around here. He bought himself a single ticket. Actually, he didn't. He bought somebody else, a lucky member, a single ticket to the speculation hype train tonight. Welcome aboard. We are now at a Mach 5.5. I'm going to give you some extra credit on that bag of coal right there, even though it was a single. Again, we love you all just the same. Choo-choo, motherfuckers. And then, not to be outdone, the one and only Decado came all through with the windmill dunk. That's right. He got on the court, flew overhead, dropped off 2 bags of coal, 2 more car full of speculators. Just to the hype train. Now at a Mach 7.0, I am feeling generous with these extra credits tonight. Your goals have dropped all the way down to 6,200 just because of that. My God, the extra credit is flowing. I'm feeling generous because you guys are generous. That's how this works here.
What mock
on the
are we at?
speculating hype tried. We are at mock
Yeah.
7.0. I said
Seven?
mock 7.
Okay, I
Oh,
missed
okay.
it. I got
I missed that one.
lost.
But you got
Yeah,
lost,
yeah.
so everybody buckle up those 4-point harnesses. You know what? The attendants are walking around right now, so please, if you have any
Third
questions,
beanie's
buckle
about to
down.
fly off, and we're
Oh,
gonna
we're
get
about to get
blinded
off
by
this
the
track.
reflection.
C unit, not to be outdone. He said, you know what? I'm seeing all this love around here, and I really like an ad-free, fun speculation network. I got to make sure it happens in 2025, and I heard that goal, so I dug in my pocket, and I found another bag of coal for y'all. So we're going to add another car because the one and only C unit got on the court with a nice little silky smooth, easy finger roll. That's right, the C unit with a 5 bomb to bring us up to a nice cruising speed of Mach 7.5 tonight and getting your goal all the way down to an even 6,000. And you guys still have 14 days to go. So you got a couple more
14
shows to
days
make
for
that
6,000
happen. That's right.
Okay.
We got big numbers. We got big numbers around here.
Got
You
big
guys hit those-
dreams.
if we hit those 6,000 in 14 days, Mav's gonna match that 6,000.
We all
That's
need
what we're gonna do
5090s.
now.
NVIDIA
right.
just announced the 5090s. We all need 5090s, or else we can't.
That's
continue
right,
with
everybody.
this.
That's the new promotion. That's the new promotion. Hashtag no beans in 2025. Ad free around here. Choo choo, motherfuckers. Choo choo. Hey, y'all. Choo choo. Choo choo. Love y'all. Thank you so much. Never expected. Always appreciated for us. You guys know that means the world to all of us when you come through and just spend time with us. Again, that's your biggest commodity that you can give us because you can never get it back. But the fact any of you go any extra, again, it's just cherries on top of what we already love and respect about all you chats. So thank you all for being here and showing that love, man. Appreciate you.
Always appreciated, never expected here, but I do have to play this for you guys.
Choo choo, choo choo. Ha 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 ha.
All right, there we go. I can't play it for y'all in Discord anymore because
know.
we're not using
Yeah.
the fucking studio. Oh man. Thank you guys. Appreciate all the support so much. Yeah, I know Dirt's like old and he needs to get to bed. So but yeah, I mean, this is a fun show. I mean, there's been so much other stuff to talk about, but like, really, we got a fucking Dev Direct next week. You know, I mean, like, we got a Dev Direct next week to look forward to. Dirt, do you want to go ahead and get out of here? Because I know you said earlier you may not be able to stay for the whole thing. So I just want to.
Yeah.
I want to give you an out right now because I want to talk a little bit about this, but then we'll move on to getting
I
everybody.
mean, I
out of
can
here.
stick around a little bit longer if we about
Okay.
to talk about the dev.
Yeah. I just want to touch on. I mean, we've already talked about it so much, but I do want to get. Now, I don't know if you know what has been going around, but I know we can't really say because we don't want to spoil things. But also,
Yeah.
like, there's
People dropping
speculation.
hints left and right, though. Jeez.
I know, yeah,
Yeah, bro. Like,
well, I mean, potentially, not even from the gamers. There was
Well,
something
no,
else that was spreading
correct.
around that was also maybe not from the
Correct,
gamers
but
themselves.
there's been some gamers spreading some stuff around too. But yes, absolutely, of course, yes.
But I want to ask you, Dirt, about Dev Direct, and now Jez has been hinting that there's potentially a 5th game.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's going to be 5?
Yes.
Now, yeah, okay. I see what's going on here. I think Dirt knows what's happening here. He's like trying to.
Yeah, I'm not into spoiling.
Yeah.
You know, I saw, like you guys mentioned, a lot of people hinting at stuff, and I'm like,
There's
just a person that told me, said, "Yo, don't tell nobody." Oh, well, cool, I ain't gonna tell nobody. Like the next day, a whole bunch of stuff is like what happened? Who the hell told all these people? I mean, I guess
Right.
people have their own sources, but they went to Twitter talking about it. But listen, I'm excited. You know, they told us about 3 of the games. But possibly it's going to be more than that. Yeah, definitely.
Do you think there's a potential that there could be 6?
The game shown?
Yeah, or some
Yeah,
other little
possibly.
extra surprise or something.
Yeah,
Beyond
some
even
extra,
a 5th.
some extra surprises, some announcements for some games coming to Xbox. So yeah, I do believe that. So I think it's gonna be fun, man, because I just appreciate as a gamer, we know January, like from the last 3 years or so, we've known January and June. It's 2 months they are going to have some type of show. We know in June they have their showcase, their big show. In January for the last 3 years, they've had a developers direct, and moving forward, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case. So I'm excited about the show next week. I hope we get release dates for South of Midnight and Doom, The Dark Ages. Expedition 33 looks incredible. I hope we get a release date for that, dropping in Game Pass day one. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. And whatever surprises, I hope we get release dates for those.
Well, I mean, we know that one surprise is supposed to be for this year. At least the one that has a question mark on it, because Aaron Greenberg and Jason Ronald's tweets were like, for games coming out this year, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's concrete. Like, we can speculate whether it's first party or third party. I've been leaning since the beginning when this was announced that I think it'd potentially be another third party game. But we'll see. It could be first party. I know that we're all guessing the 11 characters things, right? The fifth game could be fucking anything. Now, I think there's a lot of speculation about possibilities of games that we have a strong feeling that are gonna be this year. That's kind of poorly kept secret, right? And that one of those could be like to fit that fifth situation there. Like Double Fine could be something from them too. I think they got stuff ready, potentially.
Yeah.
But which one of the three Dirt are you most excited to see that we know? South of Midnight, Claire Obscure, or Doom?
I'm a big Doom guy. It's funny because Doom 2016, I didn't like it at first for some reason. I don't know why. I bought it and I went back to it like 6 or 7 months later, and it just clicked. So this game is awesome. I'm extremely excited for Doom, but I got to be real. I'm South of Midnight. I really can't wait for that game. It's something about that game. That game has caught my full attention. I will be honest, at E3 2023, I said, "Oh, that game looks interesting. Cool." That's all I thought about it. But in 2024, when they showed the gameplay last year, I was like, "Yo, that game went to the top of my list." So South of Midnight is the game. I'm really curious about the release date. I'm thinking maybe March, April time, probably April. April. So that's the game I'm really hyped for the most, South of Midnight.
Right on, man.
But I'm also hyped for Doom also. So
yeah, it's hard to pick between them. I'm personally, for me, it's like Claire Obscure Expedition 33, just because I'm a turn-based RPG fan, right? So
perfect. It's right up there.
And it's coming to Game Pass too. That's another thing. When we went through all that list of all that shit we know is coming, we also didn't count third-party day and date games that we already know several. Adam Falls fucking happening in March, and that game keeps looking better and better every time we see it.
Hyperfall Resistance.
That IO game, don't they have something with IO?
That's one of the Project Dragon. That's one of the.
Okay. You said that earlier. Okay.
Yeah, but that's a published game, I think, from Microsoft. That one. So what I'm talking about is like Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, right? It's a day and date game coming to Game Pass this year. You got the Sniper Elite, you got Atom Fall. I think there's somebody put out a list before of games we know coming to Game Pass this year, and there was a long list. Like Replaced, got 33 Immortals.
Replaced 33.
I mean, there's just tons of stuff. If Silk Song launches this year, which some people think it could actually happen, like that.
I mean, it was supposed to launch like 3 years ago, wasn't it? So
so eventually it's gonna come out, right? Fable's my most.
Is Berserker going Game Pass, or is that just being on the platform?
That's just marketed, I think.
Oh, you got a demo of that out on Xbox right now, I believe.
I think they had it at the. Is it still there now?
It's just being played. I can't remember if it's here now or if it's on Steam. I can't remember which one, but people are playing Berserker right now. So yeah. The demo.
First Berserker.
Somebody told me that the demo was on Xbox also. Yeah. I thought somebody told me that. I didn't see it myself, but.
We've talked to 3-Bit about this last week. I talked to Fuzzy about this. Me and Pong have talked about this a few times, but this is the first time Jasper's been back in a while. So, with stable internet, you're not like cutting in and out. You're not on any kind of delay or any kind of weird shit going on. So it's awesome. what is you're most anticipated to see from the Dev Direct?
So I'm kind of the opposite of what Dirt just said. I am a big Doom guy, but I'm already sold on Doom, so I've seen it before. It's a Doom sequel, so it's not like too exciting there. South of Midnight, the gameplay is actually what lost me on that game. I saw it and it just didn't kind of call to me. But I'm more excited to just see more of Expedition 33. It looks so interesting. I'm not the biggest turn-based fan, but just the overall like world and that stuff is like really calling to me. So I'm looking forward to seeing Expedition 33 more.
Right on.
Hey man, the story is pretty interesting. Did you guys hear something about the story? How
Expedition?
Yeah, like the age 33 or
Yeah,
like when people
no,
hit the age
every
they die or something.
every time, every what is it? Every year, the whatever it is, the god or the goddess or the creature or whatever wakes up and selects a number, and that's the age of the people that all die that year.
Oh,
Oh
shoot.
fuck me,
bro.
Yeah,
Oh,
man! It's like a bad lottery.
right.
dang! I got 3 more years.
Right, but you can imagine she picks one and all the 1-year-olds die. Like,
Oh
man, like,
my god!
yeah, right.
That's a sick story.
And that's what
bro,
they're traveling is to try to stop her, and they try to do this all. I think this is a continuous thing that they do send out to. It's like a trial, and nobody's obviously ever stopped her or whatever the case may be. And these people
That's
are trapped
sick,
at
bro.
this. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
that,
Oh,
that
man.
story sounds sick. You
Yeah,
know
what
what?
the heck?
Game Pass is so awesome, man. For a game like that to be going into the service. I mean, all of Xbox first party games are great. Like, even like a game like Stalker 2. First off, it took me forever to beat that damn game, but that game, I've never played the original one. I was just playing it and I got lost in that world, bro. It was just so incredible.
The Zone.
Long ass game though. The game was super. I was like, when is this shit ending? I had like 75 hours into it, but I don't know if that's a game I would have bought. If you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, like I'm not sure if I would have bought it, but because of Game Pass, I bought it and I just totally loved it, bro. Totally loved it. So Expedition
Yeah.
33 going to Game Pass. Yeah,
You buy games when you have Game Pass? I thought if you had Game Pass, you don't buy games anymore. That's
Well,
what I heard.
That's what they say, but yeah, I
Yeah,
still
yeah.
buy games. I'm rare, right? According to other people, that's rare
Yeah,
for
yeah, of
Xbox
course.
guys, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they don't buy games. Yeah.
Yeah, I look at the sales like every week in the store. Like sometimes buy like old games. I'll try and rack up my Microsoft rewards just enough to be able to get like one of these games that happens to be like on sale. You know, like and then I'll buy it. It's like double dip sometimes. Like it did on like Suicide Squad last year. Double dipped on that shit because I wanted to play on the console, but I also wanted to play on my PC. Like what the other feature that Xbox doesn't get credit for, besides the how awesome Game Pass is the Xbox Anywhere stuff, man. Like the first party stuff, I don't have to fucking make a decision.
Right.
You know, like, and even more third parties are starting to support that, and also like with games like that they add in with the game ownership now, like Cyberpunk, NBA 2K25. You know, I think Top Spin's on there 3-bit. So if you want to, you can fucking just play Top Spin in the cloud because you bought it, right?
Yeah.
WWE 24 is on there. Tons of
wow.
Baldur's Gate 3 is on there, right? If you own those games on Xbox, you can play them on the cloud. Anywhere you are. If you have a fucking access to a browser and a controller that on a device that has access to hook up your controller to it. Like, and
That's cool.
It's fucking awesome, man. Like I love that shit. Now we're getting more of these companies supporting the dual entitlement with like Square Enix did with their last releases, like Atlas did with Metaphor, ReFantazio, and stuff. And I think that's just something that's going to continue to see as we see the Microsoft ecosystem expand to more places, right, and more devices. The developers are going to be like, okay, well, we need to get to those gamers too because we want to have them the ability to buy our game, right? So, I fucking love that about Xbox. Like it's the only one I can guarantee if I have a game coming out like Indiana Jones, I can sit here and play on my PC, go pick up my progress on my console, and then at night when I'm chilling in bed, prop my tablet up and continue my progress there. Fucking awesome.
Real quick, Mav, just
Yep.
remind everybody as far as the third-party stuff goes coming to Game Pass. 33 Immortals, Adamfall, Carry On, Citizen Sleeper 2, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Descenders next, Eternal Strands, which everybody's forgetting about.
Yeah.
That's next week. That's from that new Studio 2 made up of XUP.
We saw that at
BioWare
TGS.
devs. Yes, that's actually next week already. Eternal Strands, FBC Firebreak, which I think is the Remedy game we figured
Yes,
out.
that's the
right?
multiplayer Remedy
The
game.
multiplayer Remedy game. Frostpunk 2 should be coming to console this year, which will be day and date as well. Little Rocket Lab, Lost in Random, The Eternal Die, Mixtape, Nirvana Noir, Replaced.
Mixtape, that looks
Yeah,
fun.
Yeah, it does
Mixtape
look
looked great too for us old heads. Nirvana Noir, Replaced, Road 96, Sleight of Hand, Sniper Elite, Resistance, Subnautica 2, The Altars, Wheel World, Winterboro, Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, and more. And of course, that was from the great Clobriel, and that was a few weeks ago that we talked about that one. I just found the list map, so I just wanted to bring it up again. 'cause you
Yeah,
mentioned
like
it.
on top of all the first party shit, you know,
Yeah.
like
Road
already.
96, that was on Game Pass before, I believe.
Yeah, it's come
Not
back.
second.
Same with Carry On. Both of those
Oh.
are repeats.
yeah,
Carry
he
On, right?
put a
That's the
couple
blob
on
looking
there.
thing?
That
Yeah, it's the
yeah.
blob where
Yeah,
you're you're the monster. Yeah, he
Oh,
just
yeah.
threw those in there too. But again, that's only what we know right now. It's January.
It's
Like,
January,
that-
right?
yeah.
Right.
Crazy.
They also just like stealth dropped Diablo 1 in there like
they did.
yesterday or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
On
they
PC,
did.
PC. Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
Good stuff, man. That's cool, bro. I can't complain.
Shout out to Dixon Mays with the $5 super chat. It says, "Hit me with the hype train." Can you hit the hype
Choo-choo,
train button
motherfucker.
3 bit? I know you usually do. I don't even know
yeah.
where to find it on the sound.
Choo choo, choo choo. Nice.
Thanks, appreciate it, bro. Appreciate you, Dixon. Yeah, so this is another aspect too. We talk about mismanagement, like we talked about earlier from PlayStation. We would be getting more shows from PlayStation if they had stuff to show.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, man. By the way, that last person, that name, you said it differently than his intentions. Because he got me.
I know. I did it on purpose.
Oh, you did on purpose because he got me. And they said, Dirk, what you say? I was like, hold on, wait. Okay, so you knew what he was going for. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, you got me. So okay, okay, so you did it intentionally.
I saw it there for a while because was letting us talk for a little bit, and then I had enough time to process it.
Yeah, okay, cool. 'Cause he got me one day, and I was like, then I see laughing emojis in the chat. I'm like, oh.
people have gotten me before.
Yeah,
like
you laughing right now because he remember.
Yeah. That's funny, man.
You POS.
You tried.
That took me a minute.
But yeah, I want to get everybody out here, but anybody got any last things to say about the Dev Direct?
I would just say that like I think that the fifth surprise, for some reason I feel like it's just got to be an ABK thing, whether it's like just the Game Pass drop or maybe not necessarily fifth game, but because we had all that smoke at the end of last year where like they started adding all the games to the Windows Store, like and putting the dates on there. So like maybe we get a small Game Pass dumping of ABK stuff.
I think there's going to be more of that in March. The reason is because part of that also involves the work that they've been doing on PC with the Xbox app, because a lot of those games are ABK games were either on Blizzard what's the thing? Battle.net, sorry, yeah. On Battle.net, and so we just saw, what was it? Was Indiana Jones that went to fucking Battle.net? Or was the first one?
I think Avowed is going.
Oh, Avowed. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So one of the games is going there, and that's in February, right?
Yep.
So they just added a shit ton of titles to the Xbox PC app in December, right? They added like 400 games, and 100 of those about have dual entitlement on them. So if you own it on PC or Xbox or whatever, you can play the game. So if you check your library on Xbox app, you might see games on the PC that you didn't know you had access to because you bought it on console before, right? But they said at that time that there was more news regarding the Xbox app in March at GDC.
Good.
So if it involves adding games to the catalog, potentially, I think you could see them adding some of the Battle.net stuff that's been there or other things, but also coincide with dual entitlement, right? For the console and the PC side, because I think they would have to add the Battle.net games to Xbox store on PC in order to make the whole dual entitlement thing work. Does that make sense? So potentially maybe March for more of those, but we'll see. I think it's coming at some point. But that's the work they're all doing in the back end on this infrastructure to make the future of what they're doing work. Like there's got to be this unified ecosystem. If 2026 if they are launching a hybrid Xbox PC device, and their idea for the future of Xbox is that truly everything is an Xbox. You're getting the Xbox experience with this device, whether you're on a PC, whether you're on a console, wherever. They truly need to make the games more universal to where you are going to have access to all those games no matter where you are. That means your console games on PC, that means your PC games on console, and also available in the cloud as well. But I think what we're going to see is them working, like Jason Ronald talked at CES in his interview about later this year, Windows and Xbox become one more so, as opposed to being Xbox is running on Windows. It's going to be like Xbox and Windows are converged into some kind of new thing or whatever. For I be able to launch in default into some kind of Xbox mode or something like that. I don't really know how it's going to work. I think at that
Yep.
time we're going to see some handheld device that's going to be running on that, whatever that new version is. They're going to come out with updates later in the year to PC that will enable some of those features, and we're going to see that evolve into 2026 when they're ready for next gen launch, which will be the default kind of
Question:
OS that's going to run everything on all the devices. Just my guess.
Do you think the June showcase will also be like the hardware showcase, or do you think that'll be later? Because if it's supposed to come out next year theoretically, then you would announce it this year.
Yeah. Part of me
See-
think they'll have something before the showcase.
Before that June showcase.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You would
But I guess
wonder
you wouldn't
if,
show it in the January. Yeah, go ahead. Fuzz.
I was going to say possibly the video game awards. If it's not releasing in 25, it's releasing in 26. The video game awards would probably be another good one. What they did with the
Hmm.
Series X, and then they did the
Yeah.
Series S later.
Wasn't it
Yeah,
rumored
hit
that
Keeley with
Keeley hated that?
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. It was like I don't
You
Like, I'm
didn't
sure
like it
Keeley
once,
would, like-
motherfucker. You're not going to like it again, but we don't care.
but at the
Like,
same
For
time, like
money
Keeley
or
would
not.
be dumb to not be like, you're gonna announce a fucking console at my show. Like, yes, that's like big news. Like you'd want that. So I don't know.
yeah.
It's not PlayStation.
Because think about it, like for 2 straight generations, well, not generations, let me say that. With the Xbox One X, they announced it at E3 the year before it released, which was a whole nother like year and a half, pretty much before it released. At the Keeleys in 2019, they announced it a whole year before.
Mhm.
So this year, they're going to announce. I'm not sure if they're going to show the box, but they're going to officially. I know Sarah Bond said they're working on a next gen console, so part of me thinks they're going to talk about it. I don't know the details, but I think they are going to talk about it this year and officially announce that it's going to drop in 2026.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because Jasper,
All
when
that's
when you
assume.
talked about
All that's
the ABK
assuming
thing.
that. That's all assuming that it does come out in 26. If it's 27, then kind of
Yeah, right. True.
Yeah.
yeah.
True.
Facts.
Regardless, I think it'll still be a year before PlayStation. Like, I don't think PlayStation's doing it next
I
year
think
until
it'll be 2 years
2028.
before PlayStation.
Yeah, if it's 2026, it'll be 2. If it's 2027, I think it'll be 1.
Yeah, the Pro dropped this last year, which is 2025. I don't think I don't think they can turn around a PS6 in 2 years. I think it'll take at least 3.
I don't know why they even would.
Right.
I mean, they
You know?
could. It would be like a toaster. But
Listen, I understand Xbox skipping mids and refreshes and trying to get out there before PlayStation. They tried 2 generations in a row to go head to head. It's not working. You got to
Yeah.
figure out another way, to get your consoles out there. And now it's at the point consoles just aren't growing anymore. Like,
No.
as funny, as crazy as it is, PlayStation sold all them consoles, but even their consoles are down when compared to the PS4. So it's just, they're just trying to get their console out there because it's a huge part of their ecosystem, obviously. Get it out there. Hopefully some people buy it. This is our console, and they're going to have the most powerful console for a couple years before the PS6. So,
Well, I
not
think
that it matters at this point.
to your earlier points too regarding like generations and all that kind of stuff, like at that point, if Xbox goes early, it doesn't really matter because you're not setting up a new cutoff
doesn't.
point or anything like that. Like you could say, well, if PlayStation goes in 2028, well, in 2030 we're gonna launch the next version of this, and
Yeah.
all your games still carry
It really
over,
doesn't.
or you can still stick on the other one and you get more performance if you upgrade. It's just up to you when you want to make the move, but there's no like cutoff saying like this is only playable on this new device until games get to a point where that becomes a necessity. But then you're probably like another whole like device away. So
You're
you're
100% right.
so
You're 100%
be kind of
right.
like phones. Like if you got like an iPhone 5 right now, you probably can't run a lot of apps, right? But you probably upgraded your phone 2 or 3 times since then, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So like eventually you don't even recognize it because you're not going and trying to play new shit on a fucking iPhone 5. Nobody like it's just far enough along that you have something new. I think that's just the way it's gonna be. But it says on OBS is 0. We'll see if it comes back. Oh, we're back. Okay, it reconnected.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a pause. Everybody froze, and it was like,
Yeah.
Oh.
Like I was saying, you're right. It's not going to hit the same as previous generations because everything is going to just already be there. There's not going to be any next Xbox 2026 exclusives that's only playable on the Xbox. Of course, it'll be the best console version, but I don't think at that point it even matters anymore, man. Like the PS4 Pro, the PS5 Pro has the best console versions. Well, sometimes. And I don't think nobody really gives a shit anymore.
I don't think people are going to believe PlayStation again when they say we believe in generations and we determine when the generations start, when they supported the PS4 generation longer than anybody else.
100%.
I don't know. People believe a lot of shit PlayStation says now. So
that's true. That's true.
Everything's fine.
The console, like, I love consoles. That's where I will always be. As long as these 3 support it. But I'm always in the component that I think these console peeps will go and be the ecosystem wars. That's where they're all headed. But consoles and the numbers for consoles have been stagnated each generation.
It's a declining market, like the console.
Yeah,
market
you're fighting for the
yeah.
same amount of people every single generation, and it's like that's why I understand Xbox's strategy to be like, okay, well, you're fighting for people who will never buy an Xbox, for example. Like these people will stay in their ecosystem because that's where they're comfortable. So it makes sense to like have this game go on their ecosystem and they're like, oh shoot, this was pretty good. This is what I've been missing out on. I actually like Halo, and stuff like that. Do I still like the competition aspect? Would I be Dark Phil? Of course, I would be Dark Phil. 100% of the time of like you don't get any game. Blade, that's exclusive forever. Halo, if it was me, that's what I would do, right? But business wise, these companies they don't care. And I'm just seeing where the generation is going. Consoles, I feel like realistically we maybe have 1 more generation, maybe 2, but it's like where we're headed it's just going to be ecosystem wars. Like you could play PlayStation through its store on PC as well. I just see it going that way realistically. So solidify yourself where you want to be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm starting to think like Steel. If like a shit ton of PlayStation gamers experience Halo for the first time on Master Chief Collection and that actually happens, I'm thinking like those motherfuckers have never really experienced a true skill-based shooter before.
Gonna wreck some
Right?
peeps.
If the lifelong console PlayStation
I mean,
only
I think they
gamer-
have now at this point with like Rainbow Six and stuff like that. They
but
have
those
now,
are
but-
much slower pace, tactical style. Like, I mean, Halo.
Rainbow Six, you need some skill, like because there's literally no aim assist.
But the way Halo plays, as far as like accuracy with like understanding the like amount of headshots you need for this weapon, the grenade, bouncing, like all the different mechanics, the whole dance of melee, grenade, gun, right? Like that Halo involves, and how accurate you have to be with your headshots, otherwise it doesn't, like, you're fucked, right? Like they never really experienced that because Halo, if you get good at Halo, you can play really any shooter at that.
I mean,
point, right? Like,
yeah, Halo's my game.
yeah. Like I'm gonna go up my KD if that happens. So I'm gonna spend some time like practicing. Like this is like the old days, like Pong said on Christmas when all the kids be able to get the game for the first time. It'd be like candy, man. Love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Years is gonna be phenomenal.
So this year's gonna be
That's
crazy.
all I got to say.
Well, let's get everybody out here. It's been a fun show. Fuzzy Belvedere, just because I haven't heard your voice in a while. Tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
Well, this is always awesome being here with the family. So glad we had Dirt on tonight. Glad we had Jasper back as well. And 3-Bit, looking forward to being on with you on Sunday. Always love being on podcast with you. Same with Pong and UMAV as well. This was fun. Everybody, clear your backlog. Xbox is going to be pretty much, just drowning us in games for these next couple of years, and it doesn't seem like it's ending anytime soon. So clear that backlog, make room, be prepared to be surprised next week. Have fun this weekend, be safe, and that's basically it. I'll move out the way so everybody else can do their outros.
Right on, man. And speaking of, I saw a clip of you and Dirt on that Clute posted earlier on Twitter. So shout out, thanks Dirt for hanging out with us tonight, man. It was a fun show. And besides hanging out with your Crap Gamer body pillow,
Oh, come on.
where can everybody find you, sir? Those that are clueless enough not to already know.
Listen, thanks for having me, man. It was fun. Check out my channel. Excuse me, Dirt Griggity. I dropped a video today talking about the, cancellations. I have fun with that one. Of course, I have fun with that one. So yeah, just check out my channel, man. I do console war content, but I have fun with it. I don't take it too serious. Crack jokes, try to be funny, make fun of PlayStation fanboys. You know the routine, but
Yeah, I always say it like you do it the right way, like as far as like console war, because you are who you are, and you always like just say, "Hey, this is what I do. This is console warring shit, and I'm having fun with it." And it's not like you're like trying to like lie about what you do or who you are about it. And there's also a certain level of lines you don't cross at the same time as well.
It's
Like
about video games, bro. That's
Exactly.
the thing I hate when people get personal. And I had some issues with a couple guys that got personal with me, and I want to fight them because of that. But but yeah, I just have a good time, man.
Appreciate you, Dirt, and you're one of the pillars. There's a few pillars in this community. You're definitely one of those, man. So it's great anytime you can
Made
be.
me seem old, man. Made me seem old.
Yeah, you've been here since the dawn of podcasting, pretty much on YouTube, I think, right? You've been hanging around. You know the history, the backstory of every creator out there.
Now
Like
that
I
do.
can tell you what he was doing back in 2015. This
That I
motherfucker
do.
was.
'Cause I was, like Fuzzy, but Fuzzy was around. Fuzzy, remember? There's a lot of guys, when I was just a listener, a lot of guys, man. Some are still around, most are gone, but I can tell, back in 2015, this guy did this, and he did. I'm telling you, I was.
Let me one of my files on my computer. Pull this guy up real quick.
Yeah, let me look it up.
That's what
right
Dirt's got too. He's got the receipts too.
Oh yeah, I
There ain't no doubt about
got
it.
folders in my phone of something people said. Yeah, I do.
He had to get an external hard drive for his PC just to hold all this shit. Like,
No, but listen, I
it
did
says
get a,
receipts on the side.
I did get a 512 gigabyte phone just so I could have all my receipts and stuff in there. Seriously, I really did. I was like, they got this much storage in phones now. Let me get that.
Keep going.
Yeah, bro.
That's amazing. Do you screenshot it or just put it in a folder? I'm guessing.
Yeah. I have folders for specific people. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I'm dead.
That's how you do it.
That's fucking
I'm dead
great,
serious.
man.
Guys that talk trash to me, guys that talk trash, I have specific folders so I can go right to that person. And every new screenshot I get I instantly put it in that folder. So and I make sure I keep the date when I screenshot. I keep the date there. So
see, mine was disorganized. When I started coming after certain people, I was like, "Bam, you said this on this date, but shoot, I gotta find it.
You gotta find it.
You gotta organize it.
Yeah, get organized, bro. Have folders for them POs.
Yeah, like Dirt's like, that's gonna come back to haunt that motherfucker. I'm gonna take a screenshot right now, put it in this folder, and then 5 years later, Dirt's like, oh yeah, I remember this one. This is a good time to pull this card.
I have some receipts from years. Right? I just keep it, for whenever I need it.
It's hilarious, bro. Jasper, joining us from undisclosed location somewhere in Colorado. Thanks for hopping on with us tonight, man. And I hope we can see you more often now that you're actually got your internet.
Yeah, yo. Check it out, Lord Jasper on Twitter. I'm back, baby. I got internet, so I'll be able to join shows. Maybe this Monday. I'm supposed to go out to eat, so I don't know, but I'll try to be here Monday. For sure Fridays, at least the next 2 weeks, and I'm got to work Fridays. So, but yeah, I should be more scheduled, routine on the shows. So I'm excited to be back in podcasting.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you back, man, because we've missed you. We got to have you here occasionally, off and on, but definitely miss having you. So it's great, man. Appreciate you being here. And the one only 3-bit who somehow, with all of his time ruining things with Xbox, he managed to find time to go over there and cancel 2 PlayStation projects as well, ruining everybody's day on the PlayStation side as well. This man is just a disaster within the gaming space with the havoc that he causes, but somehow he also still manages to take time to hang out with us. So
it had to be done.
3-bit.
It had to be done. You're welcome.
It had to.
You're welcome. Everyone can find me on the Bluest of Skies 3-bit. I am doing a show right here with Fuzz. And whoever else wants to come by, Jez, on Sunday at Pixelated Echoes. That's going to be a good show. It's going to be an earlier show because Jez is up there in a different time zone and whatnot. In the future, he's in the future.
In the
past.
future,
Yeah, one of those.
Like 6 or 7 hours, depending on where he's at the time. I don't know where he's at right now.
Insane. Actually, just have to do my reminder, make sure he can make that show. But he seems to be good. So 3 p.m. Sunday, Pixelated Echoes. That's going to be a good show. Myself, Fuzz, and Jez. And Dirt, good to see you, man. I agree with Mav. One of the pillars in the community. Always a pleasure. And love what you do, man. Pong, of course. Always love being on the show with you. And Jasper, glad you're back, man. It's always a pleasure being on the show. Everybody, I will see you on Monday at FSP, and then Sunday, Pixelated Echoes. In terms of announcements, there is one announcement. I'm finally allowed to say. I wasn't allowed to say for quite some time. Working on a show with some of the creators from, of course I forget the name. I'm working on 2 different shows.
The creators of I forgot what they did.
What the heck was that? What's the freaking name?
I'm so excited to tell you all, and I just told you.
Oh
yeah,
why 3-bit looks
I don't
that
know
up?
why.
Why 3-bit looks that up? I just want to have my own 3-bit moment.
Okay.
By the way, I met an astronaut the other day, so I just feel like
Yeah, you just forgot. Of course,
what was his name?
The one guy. No, I'm working on 2 different shows. One with the creators of Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Freaking
I,
amazing.
I can't talk about what it is yet, but that I finally get to talk about that project. So that's what I've been working on behind the scenes, and also working on my own show, which is finally in production mode, with the first pilot being scheduled. In the writing stage of that, I could finally talk about these shows. I've been hinting at them for a while now, and I'm excited to bring that forward to you guys on future shows, show you what it actually will look like um outside of my gaming my gaming space. So appreciate everybody for following along on all these shows. You guys are the reason why we love doing what we do, and I appreciate you every single time. So I'll see you. Of course I forgot, but I appreciate you guys. So I'll see you.
Thanks, 3-Bit, man. It's awesome. Everything you're doing. I always saw great things in your future, and now it's coming to fruition. Just like
Yes.
Jasper, you're growing up before our eyes. You got married. You're doing
Not
big
yet.
things.
I'm sorry. 3-Bit's actually lived like 4 lifetimes already.
That's
though.
true.
We
With the
all
amount
know
of things
this.
that he's done.
Yeah,
it's
dude.
crazy.
Like so, like yeah, he's growing up in some ways, like you know,
yeah.
woman
He's
and
done a
girl
million
stuff,
more
like,
things
you know,
than I
that kind of thing.
All the
He's
things.
finally there, but everything else, yeah, man, the guy's already done everything that anybody would wish to do. One thing he's done 4 or 5
Yeah.
or 6, or oh, by the way, guys, I just taught myself guitar the other day, and I've already composed 3 symphonies while I was at it. So be on the
4.
lookout for those. 4, yeah, be on the lookout.
Oh, that is actually funny because I did try to start learning Japanese the other day.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
There we go. There we go.
Next week, Jasper will be fluent, probably.
No.
Razor Ultron hit us with the $2. Appreciate you, Razors. God, why you guys keep with the Eagle shit? I appreciate you, man. EAGLES Eagles, go Birds, Sunday at 3 p.m. It hurts me
Eagles.
to say these words. You don't understand, people. But thank you so much. Appreciate it anyway. Pong, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Golden Age.
Yeah.
Where can everybody find you, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. Great Friday night. Awesome. I have another huge panel here. First of all, Dirt, again, appreciate you so much and I love your thoughts on everything, brother. You don't.
Thank you, brother.
Not just because you've been around for a long ass time, right? It's because you actually have so much passion for this industry too, and you know your shit.
Absolutely.
So I always appreciate when you're here, man. And again, it's been a minute, so thank you for giving us your time, brother.
Thank you,
and
bro.
sticking
I
around
appreciate
too, because I know it's late as hell for you. So appreciate that, man. And obviously, Jasper, welcome back to you, brother, as well. And great to know that you're going to be around more. We've missed you like hell. And so I can't wait to keep talking to you now, man, and getting your thoughts on everything that's going on until you have to disappear and fight off UFOs and then come back, not be able to tell us about it or anything like that. But then, you know, divulge secrets about the gaming industry that you've hacked. And
I'll
then go,
just keep the alien bodies in my closet. You know?
yeah, that's fine. Do that.
Yeah.
But no, love to have you back too, Jasper. And of course, 3-Bit, man, making it 2 weeks in a row. Holy shit. Well, I mean,
Rare.
you haven't done that in like 3 years.
Yeah.
When was the last time? So thanks, man. Appreciate you so much for being here, brother. And of course, continuing to cause chaos in the video game industry. But man, it's also great to hear that your personal stuff that you know, obviously talk to us about sometimes or whatever else finally come to fruition, that you could talk about this stuff, man. Again, always so proud of you too for what
thanks,
you're
man.
doing with your life, brother. So it's great to hear on a serious note, man, that you're moving forward with that stuff. So that's awesome. And of course, the 2 other brothers, my man Mav, and of course Fuzzy Belvedere. You guys are we've been kind of the threesome around here a lot of weeks. Sometimes you guys are the twosome. Pause. But it's been great again getting together with you guys tonight, and obviously talking our talk and chat. You guys are absolutely incredible. Again, lots of conversations, lots of faces in here. Just loving to see the energy coming into 2025 in the gaming space, even though things are different, even though things are evolving. Again, when the news is flying, you guys show up here. A lot of you guys show up even on the non-news weeks, which is just freaking phenomenal. But I love these news weeks, and I love when the energy picks up. But 2025 has started off hot. And I think this year, with everything going on, it's going to pretty much continue to roll throughout the year. So I love this, man. So thank you all for being here, because without you, the show doesn't happen. It's just us all sitting in game chat talking. So Nothing but love and respect to each and every single one of you. Choo-choo motherfuckers out there. Listen, you guys know how to find me. Pongsoul on X, formerly known as Twitter. Pongsoul on the Xbox and Steam and GOG and Epic and everywhere else. Follow me. I'll follow you back. Tomorrow morning, it's living split screen, all one word. Get ready, live, raw, and uncut. My brother from another, Steel Rain, and myself, 3+ hours. Buckle up. Last week we did 5 hours again. Man, it's just such a blast there every single weekend that we get to do it. So 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time will take you from your morning to your afternoon to your night, depending on where you are in the world. So get ready for that one. Be there. We get the chat involved a ton. It dictates the show. We talk topics that a lot of places won't touch. And I mean that. Like, our chat will come sideways with us and we'll take it on. Like, we will talk things that are pretty sensitive to people, because Steele and I, again, have cultivated that in our community that we're building over there. We might be small, but we've cultivated a really, really cool community. So drop on by and check us out. 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Again, split screens, all one word. Right now, the Shop Podcast still on hiatus, but PTK said right here last week that we are going to be back at some point. So keep your eyes and ears open for the announcement for that. And then otherwise, Sunday, I've actually got an additional show I will be back on. It's only been a couple weeks, but I'll be back on with the one and only Web Dave, everybody. That's right. I'm going to hang out with Web on the Gamers Council, and of course, Hargeet, and the one and only ET Epic Treasure is also going to be there. So it's going to be a blast, and we got a lot to get into on Sunday night. So come on by, check us out. Right. We'll be retweeting that out. But Gamers Council, I will be there Sunday night. And then next week, it starts all over again. I always shout out the man. Double Barrel Games is the channel. Boomstick is the man. 5 days a week, but Tuesdays is a little extra special because it is all good things green on the Xbox Factor podcast. 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Please show love to the Boom. All right. There's going to be a lot going into the direct next week. It's going to be a fun time. So go check them out. And then, of course, my week starts right here, Thursday nights, PM into PM, Pong and Mav in the PM. Oh, man. Next week, we're going to have the direct is already going to happen. Mav is already going to be able to talk about Tokyo Extreme Racer, right? I'm going to be getting excited to play some Tokyo Extreme Racer. We're going to have so much to get into next Thursday. So join us right here, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time for that one. Otherwise, everybody, it's the golden age of gaming. It really is, man. So please enjoy your weekend. I hope it's already started well for y'all. Get out there, play what you love what you play, and I'll talk to y'all real soon. Matt, get us out of here.
Pong, the ultimate hype man. Appreciate you, bro. Jesse P said, "Hey, Mav, ask Dirt what he thinks about the length of the show." I already know, man. I already know, because I've listened to Dirt enough times on his shows to know what he feels like these long ass podcasts that drag on too long. But I will say, I gave him an out. I was very vocal to allow him to leave earlier.
That's not what he's alluding to, Mav. 2 weeks ago on WBG, we were talking about long games.
Oh, okay.
And I was saying something, but they caught me saying the length is fine. I said pause, but they clipped just that part. Even my boy Shine, he clipped that and put it on his show. So that's what he's alluding to, not the actual.
Who needs enemies, right, Dirt?
Yeah, I'm like, you POF.
But I heard it's not about the length, it's about the content.
So yeah, that's what they're trying to say, bro. That's all that is. Not about your actual show.
I appreciate you being here, man. Everybody, we'll be back Monday, FSP, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time for PM of the PM. But before that, we'll
be Lions.
Go Lions, yeah. I will say, I either want the Lions to win or the Ravens to win. My dream is to see a Lions-Ravens Super Bowl.
Possible. I hope so. Well,
I hope that happens. Lions get their first Super Bowl, right? But I'd also be happy seeing Lamar Jackson get a Super Bowl. So either way, I'll be content. Cowboys sucked ass this year, right? I knew early on in the season it was just a lost cause.
I might get Deion Sanders as a coach, though. I think that'd be a good move.
Dude, I just want something exciting to happen. So fucking if primetime comes and is the coach of the Cowboys, at least it'll be entertaining. And I hope he does, man, because he brings energy. He brings
you still got snow down there, man?
No, it melted. But we're getting another Arctic blast this weekend.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's supposed to be -5 here tomorrow. So
Yeah, that's
Where
what
you
we're
at?
getting already. The winds.
I'm
today
in
were like 30
Colorado.
miles per hour,
Oh
so.
shit, that's
Yeah.
Colorado. Okay.
We had snow down here in Georgia, and that was
Yeah.
weird. as
Right.
heck.
How did you guys deal with that? Because like y'all ain't used to that shit.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. A lot of car crashes. A lot people don't know how to deal with
Yeah,
snow down
like
here.
y'all don't know nothing about that. And, I mean, like
No,
y'all don't have salt trucks or none of that shit, right?
nope, nope.
Yeah.
People don't. They yeah. It was worse last time. 10 years ago, it
I
snowed down
remember
here.
that. I saw people
Yeah,
like stranded in grocery stores and shit.
they were somewhat ready
Wait,
this time,
didn't
Yeah,
but
look,
it was still
when
pretty
it melted there, I know there was like a lot of there's a lot of plumbing stuff issues and stuff there too.
Yeah, because it freezes the
Yeah.
pipes and it
Yeah.
can bust the pipes
So
open.
I knew people that went there to do like restoration work, like in the construction field and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah. That was a lot of issues down here as with that as well. So I don't know. It was cool. It's cool to see snow down here. That's very rare.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we get it every couple years, but it's usually ice. This time is a little mixture of both, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe a chance for Monday. They say we might get some flurries. But anyway, yeah, we will be co-streaming the Dev Direct on Thursday. Then that night, PM in the PM, I might do another stream that same day if I have time to do Tokyo Extreme Racer. I want to. If not, look for that stream the next day. And besides that, have a good one, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate all the support, never expected, and you rock. And have some fucking fun playing games. Take it easy. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.